for your Armand? Paint you a good light.
I guess it's we have a little glare here, I guess.
Your way.
So can I say
just
fuck,
for that.
shit, bitch, piss, cock, hell,
Not
damn?
only
Can I say
allowed,
all
it's
that?
encouraged.
Of course, we encourage that.
Anything I'm not supposed to say? Like, I'm not gonna say like.
I don't know. Your opinions are your own.
No, I mean like pussy or cunt. I mean something like that.
No,
Come
no.
on.
One time I was on Ocho and I said something about Joe Biden,
Oh, yeah, that.
and they stopped the taping because of the.
Yeah, that'll get you.
Yeah, I would avoid anybody.
Eric had to learn that too.
Yeah,
Really?
I can't hear myself. My not gonna come through here. Yeah, that's the one thing that we cannot talk about.
Yeah.
Well, we're currently talking about how we can't talk about it, so it doesn't really matter.
Names,
Are we on?
We are live. Just
Oh.
saying. Hello, everybody.
names shall not be taken in
Hear
vain.
anything, Armand?
Not yet.
I can't actually hear Armand. Is the problem. So it's his mic.
Oh,
If we plug back into port, shit, that port should be fine.
oh, I've got a fan already.
Should be this.
Team Armand.
That Jordan, he's brilliant. I like him.
It's all.
Huh. Maybe 4 is gained down or something like that.
I don't know.
No. Let's see inputs. Yeah, there's nothing coming in on that input, so it's either the mic or port.
Let me just unplug here. Plug back.
Let's see. What should we use here?
Okay.
5.
I don't hear it.
I'm gonna plug him into 5.
Okay, I got it.
Okay.
Another one. Boy, I'm already ahead. 2-0. Did you see this? Thank you, Byron. He is cool.
Team Marissa, I'm with her.
I think
Oh,
Marissa's
that's
one of my
7,
fans too.
1
She likes me too.
Nobody likes you, Armand.
Oh,
You just keep it down.
There's 5.
Nothing personal.
Anything?
Nothing.
Nothing.
I ain't good.
Sorry, gang. I don't know if anybody's gonna hear me anyway today.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll just use that one.
Might be that mic. I don't know.
Yeah, it seems like that mic died. We got a dead mic.
What do you want me to do?
I'm just gonna get this out of your way. Do the old.
Eric's not even in there right now. Who said that? Wooter? Eric is on the phone. But yeah, I'll tell him to move his laptop. You guys want to see his ugly mug. Are you going 4 with that one, Drew?
I will be.
Hey Armand. Armand.
Yeah.
How would you pronounce that name?
Wow.
It's Latin.
Well, I would say Fenivus.
Fenivus.
Yeah.
Fenivus. I'm gonna.
Yeah.
It works
Obviously,
both directions with J.
J is in Latin. J is always I. You know,
Yeah. Okay.
As in
But isn't it?
INRI.
But Jeho sounds you right with an I, not I sounds you right with the J.
I think so.
Really? It's both ways?
All right, going into 4.
Yeah, I don't think.
4's
it
live.
does.
Armand, give me a check or two on this new mic.
Yes, that's better.
Let's turn him up a
All right,
little.
that's better. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't know what the fuck is going on with that, but we'll have to swap that out, I guess.
I gotta crank him up a little. Give me some persistent checks, Armand.
What do you want?
Some persistent checks.
Oh, check.
Bullshit.
Would you like
Checking,
some?
checking.
Yes, well, I'll give you a little Shakespeare. We are such stuff as dreams are made on, and our little life is rounded by a sleep.
Sounds good.
Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow creeps in this petty pace to the last syllable of recorded time.
Thank you.
I can
nice.
I can do the
I
whole
got nothing.
soliloquy
I'm
if you
not gonna
like.
trump that one.
What's that?
Shakespeare, Macbeth, Act 3.
All right.
Okay.
So they're bitching about your laptop being like your entire.
Yes, your
screen.
face is
You
obscured.
take that camera and hang
Those-
it on your laptop.
Those beautiful porcelain features.
Not like that. The front under the front of it is a little hook. Then you take the back and kind of angle it out. So yeah, there you go. Yeah. Yeah.
Who was bitching about it? Who had a problem?
I'm
Wooter.
not bitching, but
Wooter was. Wooter's. He said.
thank you, Sarah. You may change your vote.
How you
I have
doing, Woot?
4 votes
Check
already.
1. Oh shit, this is loud. Is anybody else really loud?
That's how Ocho likes it.
No, the
But
term
you
is
have
hot.
to turn that down. Yeah, there you go, Armand.
Yeah.
Get his ass.
What's the matter with you?
OJ did it. Episode done.
Yes.
Frank Reynolds says.
Yeah, I think we're okay. That's good enough for me.
Is that better? Is that still
Look
hotter
at
than
the
shit?
OJ Simpson. I don't know about y'all, but I'm excited.
Wow.
That's great.
Who's excited?
OJ Simpson is apparently here.
OJ. OJ's
That's gonna
excited.
save you the trouble of
All
finding
All
his,
right,
phone
good.
number.
Juice, we were trying to get your number earlier.
I have some
Everett
questions
was.
for him. Yeah.
Holy cow. What do you know? Drew will be joining us
Hey,
also.
if that is
Drew's
the
in
real
studio.
juice, email me at info@surrealtalkpodcast.com.
It's not the real juice.
I know it's not.
Send me an
You
autographed
don't fuck
card,
around.
right?
You take these chances where you can.
I got your Heisman Trophy, Juice. Come get it.
Yes.
I treat rheumatoid arthritis. Yeah, what they do? Do they have to sell that or what?
Hey, you
Goldman's
know,
got it, I guess.
You know who was released from jail like in Vegas hours before the Vegas shooting?
Uh-oh.
OJ Simpson.
Uh-oh.
Ooh. Coincidence?
That's when
I
they
think
let him
not.
out. They let him out that day. And
That's
then
right. It
2
was
hours
back in
later-
November, right? Or
I think
2017?
Ocho Man commented on his Facebook page. It's OJ getting his shit
That's
back.
coming through in just a second.
We don't quote
Was it me?
Ocho Man on this show.
Who?
We had him
Yeah.
on the first time ever a couple weeks ago. What did we talk about with him?
It was at Halloween.
Was it?
Yeah.
She was like just yesterday.
Armand, you want to tilt yours down a little bit, your camera there?
Mm-hmm.
Courtney Love did it. Well, she sure did Kurt Cobain, I'll tell you that.
Looky there.
Did she kill Kurt Cobain?
Oh, not with her hand. I mean, yeah.
But-
Kurt was murdered. Period. Done. That's episode over. Kurt was murdered.
Okay, that one's
episode
over, too.
What's your number, Eric? I need that back. I don't understand. Oh,
His Heisman
ha,
Trophy.
ha, your Heisman
He's gonna come to
Trophy.
your hotel, fucking kidnap you.
Look, Juice, you're old and out of shape.
Oh,
I'll kick your can.
Juice.
OJ Simpson telephone.
Yeah,
Ah.
I'll bring that down. Yeah.
We got Drew on the board today. If you can't see him in the background, he's doing a phenomenal job, as always.
Drew?
Drew.
Drusus?
Drew, yeah, Drooby Dooby
He's
Doo.
Worried about your intro
He's
being
mediocre
off,
at best.
You know, OJ can't raped. I remember him
Drew's a
crying.
man. You don't give Drew shit.
Oh,
You
I
kill
don't
people
know.
for less.
Not giving him shit, just
What you got going on here?
Bob White checking in. Hi, Bob.
The bird.
OJ Simpson.
It'd be cool if somebody made a specialty account like every time we did a show, and it was like, if it was a show about whoever, they're making the account like that. That'd be fucking awesome. Who's
Yeah,
eating what
somebody's
straight?
brilliant. Yeah.
We're all eating gum.
Yeah, I think we have to put on
Yeah,
where
we're
it
gonna
belongs
have
on
to-
the bottom of the table.
Loud as fuck, he said.
Yeah. Ruminating. All right. A trash can around here?
I refuse to bow down. I swallowed it. I'm sorry.
Simpson.
Does anybody else have a problem that they can't? I swallowed
Still
my
loud
gum.
as fuck, Bob White? Or
No,
is it
he's
just the gum.
He was talking about the
I
gum.
heard that takes 7 years to digest.
I can't quit swallowing
That's
it.
a
Like
myth.
it's
That's a
been
myth.
ever since I was a
That's
kid.
Good. I'm glad
You'll
that's
shit it out tomorrow.
What's with the
Trust me.
noise there, Everett? The ding.
That was a text message from April telling me my notifications were loud as shit.
Yeah, I hear
Hey,
that.
somebody agrees. I remember Sandy Hook. Nick, we had a little debate about that.
We went
Yeah,
round
that'd
and
be
round
right.
about that. Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and close out my
I
messages.
changed
Ed.
nothing on that.
There you go.
What's an ASMR stream? What does that mean?
Ass, mouth. No, I have no idea what that.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Don't get him
AS,
started on that.
Yeah, never mind.
Yeah, don't.
It's
Spent
short
too
for
long.
autonomous sensory meridian response.
I don't believe that.
It's like using your sound to stimulate other senses or some shit.
Really?
Wow, that sounds cool.
What's up, guys? What's up, Clayton?
Give it a couple more minutes.
Clayton's
and
a
we'll start the
regular,
show.
isn't he?
I don't think I've seen Clayton on the show before. Have you, Eric?
He's probably been here. Yeah,
Has he?
yeah. Paulie, well, Sandy Hook, no one died.
Where's Marissa? She's
Why is our chat all
She's
upset
usually
all of a
here.
sudden?
yeah, she's usually on board. And our friends from Australia, our down under friends.
Australia, mate.
Ah, on the babby.
What's up, guys? Yeah, we got one in store for you guys today.
This is a very high tech level show, Nick. If you haven't figured
Oh,
it
man,
out.
it's
This
like
isn't
the
like the good old days
Leaps
where,
and bounds, man.
where we sat in Studio B,
Yeah.
all
All right,
scrunched together like kippers.
Like a
People-
little production value, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, this is the A group here.
You know, Spreaker has a
Hey, fuckos.
Spreaker has an
What's up,
app
James?
that you can record a podcast on your phone. You know.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
But the sound is
file
bad.
downloaded.
if I ever have
Which
anything
one?
to
The
say,
old one.
No, I did not.
Oh.
You wanted that?
Yeah, we were gonna
Yep.
play that for a second before we went live, just to give everybody like a bit of nostalgia.
Gotcha. Hang with me. Hey.
to prescribe a laxative for Frank. He's not regular.
I apologize for
Occasionally
my DM in advance.
irregular. Little collace.
Oh yeah, Ryan. We were just talking about that. It's a really really long one.
Yeah.
So I think we should play every voicemail we got this week. It's going to take a fucking...
It's going to take a while, but we got to preface this with saying that you guys got to cut your voicemails down to about 30 seconds because the massive influx of voicemails that we got, it would dominate an entire show.
What did Frank have to say? What was the thrust of?
I haven't listened to it.
And we just paid for people to leave longer voicemails too. They're like, okay, here you go. Byron, what's going on?
Hang with me here. I'm almost where I got to be for that.
Now, I don't think. Now, Nick has never been on this show, right? This is,
not on Surreal Talk.
No,
sir.
He had
But he's been on the show before because it was his. Ooh,
well, that's
snap.
correct. Of course, I remember that
me?
show.
Well, yeah.
Oh, I thought that sound coming out there was me.
That was me.
Oh, it was you.
I was a little inebriated. That's all right. We all get that way from time to time. In fact, we prefer our voicemails with some sort of
Pixelated.
inebriation.
All right. This is what you're talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Is that right?
That was a UFO beaming back at
This
you.
is the old
Now, they've been coming here ever since 1946.
intro.
And they have been living and working
Jack
among
Nicholson.
us in vast quantities
from,
ever since. The
this is
government
from,
knows all
Time.
about them. These leaders
Yeah, but that's
have
from Easy
decided
Rider.
to repress this information
Jack Nicholson.
because of the
He was
tremendous
crazy in that
shock
movie.
that
Yeah,
it would
this is
cause
literally
our
smoking dope.
antiquated
Yeah,
system.
talking about UFOs.
Right before they beat him
I
to a
don't have
pulp.
to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad.
Network.
Yeah,
Well, I got a helmet.
Oh, I got it for you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I got a helmet.
I love
A
that
look
movie.
inside the world of
What is
cults,
that stuff?
conspiracies.
Is that what
and
that
the
is?
Is that what
paranormal.
that is? Yeah, that's
Brought
right.
to
You say it's all
by
right?
Lineup Media Group.
Captain America.
Everybody's out of work or scared.
Man,
of
that shit
losing
was
their
long.
Job.
Yeah, it
A
was.
dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust.
That's from a
Shopkeepers
movie
keep a
called
gun
Don
under the counter.
Peyote. You ever seen
The
that?
air
Was
is
it Don
unfit to
Peyote?
breathe.
Yeah, you seen that?
Our food is unfit to eat. Punks are running wild in the street. There's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to
that's
do with
the
it.
Network, I was going to say. I
That's
thought. Yeah.
Oh, that was Peter
Yeah, that's
Finch.
Network.
Right.
This is from a movie called Don Peyote.
Jesus and Magdalene, the CIA, KGB, and AIDS, the reptilian elite, Watergate, the New World Order, Bilderberg, the MK Ultra Project, the history of the world and the oppression of the human
Well, that's catchy.
The
So this is
long
Nick's
God,
intro,
This was
huh?
Nick's intro, yeah.
heaven, hell, and the delicate
Hey,
fabric.
James.
Now, your host, Nick Drago.
You gotta say, I am as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore.
Network. Yep.
Yeah, that was the old one.
Written
I
by
need to get a refill
Patty
before we get going.
Chayefsky.
Just a couple minutes and I'll be ready.
And I don't own the rights to any of that. I'd be sued if I, you know what I'm saying? That was a B-52 song, a 2-3 movies or something.
Right,
It's
right.
like, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we decided we wanted
Copyright
to play that, though. I
infringement.
talked to Everett
Well-
about that. I said, well, we got to play his old intro, you know what I mean? Just
Wow, I
just
forgot
because.
about that.
And he's like, I think I still have that on a drive somewhere. So,
So
yeah,
when
we
did you do
got
your
that.
last show, Nick?
Oh, God, I got paranoid, and
Uh-oh.
I'm a real harsh critic on myself. I didn't really like it listening to any of my podcasts.
Don't ever do that. You shouldn't listen. To
I
that.
know,
very
right?
true.
I thought I put out some good information. I don't think I was ever wrong. No, no, maybe
naturally.
no. Really, I probably was wrong about twice. But
Would you like to elucidate on which ones?
I think Michael Jackson is dead.
Okay.
I think David Bowie is dead too.
Oh.
And Hitler probably didn't get away in a time machine.
Maybe not
Oh,
a time
I
machine,
like
but I
that.
bet he got. Hey,
That's my
not-
I think he
favorite.
got away.
He got away,
He got away.
but not in a time. Maybe not in a time.
Let's
machine.
hope.
You know, in a one of those whatever's the underground, the submarines.
U-boat.
U-boat. Yeah.
Unterseeboot.
Oh yeah.
I thought what's her name was supposed to fly him. Hannah Reich was supposed to fly him out. Remember the only woman to win an Iron Cross?
No.
Nazi pilot? Yeah, Hannah Reich.
Thought any about that. No.
She was the only one that could, like, you know, all those pilots were dying trying to get the V1 rocket working because they had before it was a buzz bomb and self-propelled.
Yeah.
They had to test it, and all these guys were dying, and she survived. Actually, she was the first one. She got the Iron Cross.
Wow.
Yeah,
I
Hannah
don't know
Reich,
about
pretty
that.
good-looking gal.
Right on.
Let's check out this day in history.
Check 1, 2. You guys
Talk-
good?
Talk about her.
Are we feeling
Oh
it?
yeah.
Are we feeling
Oh
it?
yeah. Oh yeah.
You ready to go?
Hope so.
Roll that beautiful bean footage there, Drew.
You're listening to Surreal Talk, a look inside the world of cults, conspiracies, and the paranormal.
Something's not right, man. Something's not right. Something's bullshit here, and I don't believe it. true.
Skeptic.
Honestly, this crazy shit could be completely possible. Little role reversal there.
Gullible.
Disclaimer: we reserve the right to be wrong, ladies and gentlemen. That's true.
Weasel.
That's still true. You think you know the whole story?
That's still true.
Think again.
Agent
Now
Provocateur.
your hosts, Eric and Everett.
Hey, pass those out. There's one for you too.
Oh, pass it. Yes, our literature.
Welcome to Surreal Talk, a look inside the world of cults, conspiracies, and the paranormal. A lineupmedia.fm production, and we are back.
I need another one here.
And we are back with a doozy of an episode today. Armand needs another one.
Thank you.
Get it? Okay.
Now.
We are back with a great episode today. It's going to be I think our 4th or 5th installment of True Crime.
Something like that.
Something like that. And we are going to talk about the juice.
Orenthal James.
Not steroids, ladies and gentlemen.
Not
OJ.
orange juice.
Is it Orenthal or Orenthal?
However you want to pronounce it.
Yeah, I mean, that's yeah.
Potato,
It's
pal.
interesting to me.
Armand or Mund.
We strive for exactitude.
But I think what's interesting this week is we've got some guests with us, and everyone knows the one, the only Armand. But who we are bringing back this week from way back.
Yeah,
this
from a
is
time machine.
Nick Drago, the original host of the precursor to Surreal Talk, a Nick of Time. How you doing today, Nick?
I'm doing great. I'm doing fabulous.
Nick and I work together for the people that have listened
Oh,
for
yeah.
years and years. We're well.
You guys were
too.
two of the original cast-offs.
They-
In fact, the two original cast-offs of the Ocho Man show.
Correct.
I actually wasn't a cast-off.
No, he had a contract dispute.
Again, there's that potato again. I mean,
Right.
I was a cast.
we were all off there for one reason or another.
Nick, did you ever find out how he kicked me off the show?
No.
I get a text. You're on the bench. Don't come into the studio. The day of the show. Don't come into the studio.
Oh, wow.
I was an angry young man back then, so.
You'll have that.
Definitely.
We need
So,
those.
Nick, for the listeners that don't know, if you've just tuned in like in the last year or so, a year and a half,
actually,
2 years, you're just used to Everett and I. But before Everett and I, when we started Surreal Talk, we started under Nick of Time, and we took over Nick's show. Nick was the host of it, so we had him back on. He recently just joined the group out of nowhere and was like, "Hey, wanted to talk about OJ." We're totally come on, let's do it. No hard feelings, no nothing like that. Bring it on, man. Yeah. So he's in the studio today for our True Crime episode.
That anthrax powdery scent, but
Is that what that was?
I was
Otherwise,
down for
yeah.
like 3 weeks from that.
Yeah.
I thought that was
otherwise
I had
no
a
hard
party.
feelings.
You snorted it?
I had a party, yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, I must have a strong immune system. Fuck it.
It's like iocane. You spent all those years building up an immunity.
I kind of suspected Nick one of those Austin bombings.
Ah.
He's a very angry man.
Jesus, Armand.
I don't know. Nick is a very angry young man.
No, you know what? You know why not to get into this, but like I was going to do a podcast where I called for crisis actors that had been taken part in false flag shootings. I was going to call on them to like get a hold of me and speak to me anonymously. And then I freaked the fuck out and said, "I'm not doing that."
Oh man.
Yeah, I would
But hey,
listen,
guys,
but that would
Nick
be
Drago,
dangerous.
private message me.
I would do that only for the simple fact that it'd be fun to try to sniff out the asshole bullshitters from the ones who might genuinely be, because you're going to get 85-90% of them just like, yeah, man, I was involved in Sandy Hook.
Dude.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
would get a few for sure.
Well,
but yeah, it would be interesting.
Could we? I don't want
nonetheless.
to change the subject, but what about this Florida, the Parkland? What do you think?
I don't know. I think there's some kind of contrivance behind all of it. Okay, and
There you have it.
Yeah, I'm not saying no one died. I'm just saying there is something contrived behind it.
That dude
I'm
was a
gonna be very
weird dude,
vague.
man. I don't know how he could have pulled that off on his own planning, but whatever, Video games these days.
Yeah, video games.
Blame it on the
Shut
video
up.
games.
That's what they're trying to
I
do.
know. All right, you want to get into voicemails?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, this should be. You gonna play the long one?
Yeah,
We'll play them all. Fuck it.
Yeah,
We'll
so
get
we're
through
gonna-
it. It's going to be a long show anyway today. So.
Yeah, it's going to be a real long show. Hope you guys got your popcorn and your beers. So,
And whatever else you.
but we want to preface these voicemails by saying that because of the influx in voicemails, we've got quite a few. It's going to be a little bit of voicemails today, but we would request that if you could leave.
If we start getting so many more of them, we're going to do a second show just for voicemails.
Yeah,
it's just gonna be
I mean, we're not telling you to stop because by all means we want to hear every single voicemail, but we might going to have to do a midweek show to just accommodate all these voicemails because it's getting crazy.
The first one today comes from a listener named Just Chris. So here we go.
Hey guys,
Hey.
This is Chris. Been listening since the beginning of the year. Really
nice.
enjoy the show.
Thanks.
Couple points for you. The 9/11 stuff is really good. Really enjoyed that.
Thank you.
I would recommend,
I
if
did
you
too.
haven't already, take a look at Dr. Judy Wood,
Oh, yeah.
Where Did the Towers Go?
Yes.
Excellent stuff.
Yes.
for the JFK stuff. Jim Mars, Crossfire, is an excellent information. I think
You sound like you're in a
that's
closet.
the book that the JFK Oliver Stone movie was based on. So check that out. Don't mind the cussing. Actually, really enjoy it. Just don't like the R word. The one that rhymes with hard. Get that out of there. And
he doesn't like a saying.
I'm definitely Team Eric.
T-rard.
All right. Later.
I'm assuming that.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's not a very nice word.
Yeah, it's not. It's not.
That's
yeah.
offensive, yes.
Yeah, I mean a little.
Team Eric, though.
I
Did you
guess
hear that?
have we?
I missed that part.
Last time I was on this show about a month ago, you guys were debating whether he should be interjecting during these voicemails. I assume you guys.
So yeah, we talked about it before. I guess not with Armand yet. We put a poll out on the group to whether or not people thought Eric should interject during the voicemails.
It was a unanimous yes. I should.
Like
like
50
your-
I
yeses.
talked to him.
Okay,
I
your
talked to the people.
interlocutions and ejaculations.
Definitely.
Whoa.
Well, all right.
Chill out on the ejaculation with the
You didn't
intraculations.
say we couldn't
or
say
whatever.
that word.
You can say whatever you want, Armand. I mean, like I said, your opinions are your own. So
Very well thought out voice.
He does not represent Surreal Talk, so
exactly. Without expressing
Disclaimers.
All right, next email is we've already prefaced with an apology from Ryan in the chat, but here's a voicemail from Ryan Barkley. First part of like 9 minutes of it.
Hey guys,
Yo.
This is Ryan from San Diego.
How you doing?
I've been a long time listener since you guys took over for Nick at Night.
Nick at
I
Night.
just want to say, Eric, I know you're gonna talk back to this and give
I
the
will.
commentary as I'm talking to you. I do the same thing while
will.
you guys are recording, so
Thank you.
no worries there.
Can't resist.
As far as Team Everett, Eric goes, I'm
I like that.
still split in between the two of you
Team
guys.
Everett.
I follow,
Wow.
or I
pretty
fall
good.
more on the Eric side of always believing in conspiracy, but I also love science and the deeper knowledge for, the logical sense of things as Everett does.
Eric's like, get out here with that logic
wanna say
shit.
you guys
Yeah,
are
I
killing
resent
it.
that.
Love everything you're doing.
Thank you.
Loved all the religion episodes that you guys did. Those are really cool.
Yeah, I thought so too. I loved that.
I've had my own really interesting spiritual experience that I'd love to share sometime, maybe on a call-in show or something.
Or a voicemail.
But anyways, yeah, you guys have done a killer job.
Thank you.
You guys over the huge conspiracy points, 9/11, JFK. You guys killed it on those episodes. I really like Pizzagate, even though I know Everett hates that one.
Good episode.
Very true.
For Eric, I know there's one, the Who Took Johnny documentary that kind of goes into the same kind of underground sex ring.
I've heard of
as
that.
Pizzagate kind of went. So maybe you guys could do an episode on that, just kind of dig deeper
Oh,
into
I'm really looking
that.
forward
A lot
to
of people
another
think it's just
child
a hoax
molestation
and
ring
it's fake,
episode.
but, it's still pretty cool, the content on that. I like that you're doing the true crime. There's a podcast I listen to called True Crime Garage that
Yeah,
really
I'm aware.
digs deep on
That is
all
a good.
that stuff.
We
that's
steal
a good
all of our
pod-
material from
West
them.
Memphis 3, which I don't think the kids did it.
Oh, on the
There's
West Memphis
actually
3.
at the beginning of that guy's
they did it.
podcast, he talks about
Yeah, they did.
there was some African American guy that went into a gas station by the site of the murders. It was covered in blood, and the cops kind of dropped the ball on that. They took their time getting over there, and
They always
actually
do.
missed the guy and kind of missed
They
the evidence
always
of
do.
what possibly could
Drop
have
the
been a
ball, yeah.
murder on that one. But
Bojangles restaurant.
Police.
He walked into that restaurant. That's
Is that what it was?
Yeah, he had
Wow.
blood on him, and
Son of a beach.
See if I can get to start right back where we were. Good.
I don't know. That was a crazy kind of thing. But love what
High
you
energy
guys
here,
are
Ryan.
doing.
High energy.
Huge fan.
Right.
I listen every week. I've only been able to make the live podcast on YouTube about once, but
+1 today.
Yeah, you're here today.
no, you guys are killing it. So
Thanks, buddy.
Appreciate
I
it, man.
think the whole thing with the I like when you guys did the conspiracy theory episode because it was kind of
Culture of conspiracy.
Oh yeah, that was nice.
Talking about the different things of why people believe conspiracies and why people kind of want that. It's because we're born with a natural urge to want more, to want the knowledge of things that go on.
Nobody
in our
wants to be
lives.
lied to, bro.
I'm going to cut off.
He says,
All right.
I'm going to get cut off. Yeah, you did.
You did.
All right, second half of that voicemail.
Oh, there's
Oh, yeah, it goes on.
volume 2.
Sorry, I got cut off, but that's the whole thing. Like even with 9/11, it's like it's a conspiracy to some people, but to me, I think it's an actual truth. And once a
I hear you,
theory's
bro.
been proven truth, it's not a theory anymore. It becomes
That's one of those ones.
Then it's just a
scientific
conspiracy.
law, and that's
I'm on your end
the
on
whole
that
reason
one.
why we have scientific theory is because we have a hypothesis and a theory, but once there's facts to actually back that up and prove it, it's actually real. Then it's not a theory anymore. But anyways, sorry, I'm a little faded too. But
I have that.
Again, I really love what you guys are doing. I thank you for the time that you put into it. There's, obviously more that you could go into and deeper that you guys could go, but I understand that you guys are restricted to, your own schedules and your own work.
I know you get what we're trying to do.
Stuff, but,
and ignorance. Thanks, Armand.
I really appreciate everything.
Only so much
you guys
knowledge
are
to
doing,
go around.
It's funny when you guys were talking about the whole religion thing. Is I actually used to be a youth pastor, but because of the things that were going on in the church, that's why I actually decided to step away, because I didn't agree with them according to different doctrines and things that the church said that it was actually standing for, when
Get him on the show.
according to what their source was, it wasn't actually
church hypocrisy
lining up with that. And
we kind of did that.
Really
we did the bullshit of religion.
Close enough.
Yeah.
So I thought that was cool that you had that guest. I don't remember what his name was, but I thought
that was Phil.
Dope.
His name was Phil Kaler. Was that guest?
That was not the bullshit of religion. That was the hell episode. He was a guest on.
Oh, that's right. Who guested on?
It was just us.
That's what I thought. I don't think we had a guest.
What was Ocho Man? Armageddon or something?
Yeah, no,
Halloween.
Oh.
Are you sure it was Halloween?
Yeah.
Huh.
You've been to
No, because we went to. Are you sure?
Promise.
Okay.
all the different things about that, and you guys are you're killing it.
Helicopters over this guy. Is that what's going on here? Black helicopter?
He's actually being
Black
chased in
Ops.
a white Bronco right now.
Drone.
One thing I thought you guys might want to talk about, just because it's a little out there, it's a little surreal. It's not cult, but it's kind of alien-ish. Is the Betty and Barney Hill case? There's this really super weird story that they got abducted and.
The owners of that ranch.
That might be something that people want to hear about.
It's a great story.
It's a pretty cool little story about them.
Purported alien abduction survivors.
That's relevant.
Seems to know about it. Okay.
Oh, I know all about it. I read the book.
Cheers to you guys, and Everett, happy birthday to you.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
It's Monday
45.
the 19th.
That's his birthday.
That's 5 days ago, yeah.
Hope you're having a great day, and enjoy that time that you have with your family, and
nice guy.
guys are killing it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ryan.
Appreciate it.
Oh, is that Ryan? That just
Yeah,
said,
he's
I
in
promise
there.
I'll keep it at 1:30 from now. Okay,
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks,
But
Ryan.
that was he had some
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
good
yeah,
shit.
totally.
heady statements there.
All right, moving on. We got an anonymous. You know how we love them.
Oh,
Oh,
boy.
yeah. Ain't
This is an 11-second one I have not previously listened to, so
Oh,
this could be
great.
anything.
Can you guys please
it's
talk
Marissa.
about Robert Durst? I think
Isn't it?
it's so interesting, and I think it needs to be talked about.
Robert
Thanks,
Durst.
Ryan.
Hey, no problem.
See, I'm an ignorant motherfucker. Who's Ryan Durst or Robert Durst?
He was like a guy up in, was it Boston or somewhere on the East Coast, and he let's see, his wife disappeared, and then years later his friend was murdered, and then I think HBO just did a documentary on him, and in the documentary he still has his microphone on, uses the bathroom, and he's talking to himself, and he's like, well, you just blew it, something like, he pretty much confesses. He's like,
doing his own
he
inner
goes,
monologue.
You killed them all, something like that. It's almost like he's schizo and he's talking to his other side.
Yeah, it's like his inner monologue's not
fucking
inner
right.
anymore.
So he's cooked. His trial's coming up
Have to check that out.
soon, real soon, this
Have to
year.
check that out. All right, moving on to the next Anon.
Hey guys, this is my first time calling in. I've been listening to the show for about a year, but I just
Hello.
Team Eric, by the way.
Yeah,
I just
that's
wanted
right.
to
I take that hello
know
back.
Everett's thoughts about lucid dreaming. Both your thoughts, because I
Okay.
think it's really interesting, and you guys did a podcast about astral projection, and I
think we even did
it
lucid dreaming
would
too.
be really interesting to hear how lucid dreaming and astral projection have to do with each other. Thank you.
One, I'm not sure if they do.
They could.
But I mean, if they both
don't know
involve the
that.
consciousness on a different level, though,
Yeah.
so I can kind of see the link there. So lucid dreaming, for those who don't know, is basically the ability to take complete control of your dream state and turn it into your playground, so to speak.
Yeah, you're aware that you're dreaming, and you can basically control whatever happens.
But that happens only very rarely, right?
I've never had it happen.
You can train yourself to do it. I can't, but you can train yourself to do it.
I wish I
could. Astral projection is where it's like an out-of-body experience where you're said to have either go on a different plane of existence and check stuff out, or you can, I mean, there's a lot of different theories of actually what it is, but...
Sure.
Wait a minute. I think I'll defer to our guest. What do you...
What's the
astral projection?
I think he's projecting.
No, if I don't know anything about it. If I was doing lucid dreaming, I would not want to wake up.
That's my point too. It's like a fucking holodeck now.
I'm going to Vegas. I'm going over here. I'm going. Yeah. Okay.
No, we should probably pick up and do another lucid dreaming episode. That'd be kind of cool. I'd love to talk to any listeners who have experience with it. I know I don't. I wish I could.
The episode where we talked about lucid dreaming was "Dream a Little Dream." For those that want to go back and listen to that. So.
The archives.
Marissa says she can do it. We'd love to talk to her about it. She's always great. She's a fucking riot. Anyway, next voicemail is Ryan's back. Ryan Barkley.
Ryan?
Maybe it's something only women can do.
I don't know.
2 women and they both can do it.
All right, here we go. Ryan Barkley. Welcome back, Ryan.
Hey guys, Ryan from San Diego again.
Hey Ryan.
Long time no
talk.
talk.
Couple days after my last message.
Seems like just minutes ago.
I just wanted to say too, I really enjoyed the whole flat Earth, hollow Earth thing. I thought that was pretty cool.
I didn't.
Really? I thought they were fun episodes.
Your podcast is actually kind of the first time I really heard in depth about it. So I actually went and researched.
And then you figured out we weren't in depth.
Just because I was like, I think it's bullshit.
It is.
I just kind of wanted to see the argument.
Hollow Earth might not be.
Open to
Hollow Earth's a lot more plausible than flat.
Of everything, and not telling someone they're retarded even if they think flat Earth is real. Anyways, but so I went and found Mark Sargent on a couple different podcasts and listened to him.
Yeah,
and he's kind of like the whole creator of that ideology and has this whole list of clues and theories and all that crap. So he's on YouTube. You can check all of that out. But on his YouTube, he left his phone number and his email so you can get a hold of him. Because he's always like, I want to talk about it with everyone. I want to spread the knowledge and get everyone on the flat Earth train. Well, I've emailed him a couple times trying to ask him a couple questions and see different things, but I thought maybe that'd be kind of cool if you guys could possibly do like an interview with him because he loves talking about that shit.
Yeah, Ryan.
And he's
so
actually
stop right there.
Debate it.
The thing about that is we're assholes. So
we're not that kind of asshole though. We
no,
wouldn't roast the guy we were talking to.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that like when someone's like, "Hey, would you do an interview with these two guys?" He's like, "Look at these assholes." Fuck no.
Yeah, that's a good
we're
point.
no one. And I don't
why
really,
would he do it with
I really
us?
don't feel like that he would do that.
Yeah, good point. I wouldn't.
Give you kind of like what you'd want in a host, like someone who can actually, present information and defend it properly. To educate, quote unquote, everyone. So yeah, it's just my thought.
I get your own podcast.
Because I know you guys, Eric always jokes about doing another fucking episode of that. So yeah, that'd be kind of cool. Hit him up, Mark Sargent.
Mark, if you're listening, hit us up.
Cool guys, keep doing what you're doing, and look forward to the episode this weekend.
Thanks again, Ryan.
Thank you.
Oh,
and
my shirt says, what does it?
Somebody asking in chat what your shirt say. It says Republican lies sound the same as Democrat lies.
That's official Surreal Talk merch there.
And there's actually the ancillary version of that says Democrat lies sound the same as Republican lies because
This is and this is authentic.
Yeah.
Surreal Talk wear.
That was a
here.
gift to our man Armand.
Yes.
Yeah.
For his many.
Threw my Ocho Man shirt away.
We got to get moving through these voicemails. We're going to be here till Tuesday.
All right.
Brandon Peacock, next voicemail. Here we go, Brandon.
Nice intro.
What's up, Brandon?
I think you know what's up.
Breathe, buddy, breathe.
Yeah. Take it to the head. Take it to the head. Yeah?
Your guys' show is fucking sick.
Thank you.
Hey, I was wondering if you guys ever heard of the smiley face killers.
Yes. Sorry.
Maybe next time you guys do it all over the place or some shit, you could
marking it down.
Add that in.
Smiley face killer.
Yeah.
Pretty much all I want to add. So you guys have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Right?
Thanks,
Thank
man.
you.
It's a smiley killer.
The quintessential Surreal Talk fan right there.
Gotta love him. All right, moving on. Thanks, Brandon.
We also have to cut down the voicemails to one bong voicemail a week.
Yes.
So we might be breaking that right here because the next one's from the Smoking Bandit.
Oh, shit.
One percolation.
Yes.
Everett, it's your boy RC,
Hey.
aka the Smoking Bandit.
What's up, RC?
And I got a little joke for you.
Oh, I'm ready. I like jokes. What's up?
What's it sound like when you try and start your Honda 93 Accord in the middle of the winter with a blown out valve? Well, it sounds a little like this.
God damn it. Touche, buddy.
Yeah.
Okay. You got me.
Oh my god.
I really got to get the exhaust on this thing checked out.
Yeah, I'd take it to a proper mechanic, man. No more of that, home garage.
You're getting air through here, man. You got to get some gum around the base.
Sounds like.
All right, we got the Smoking Bandit for a 3-second follow-up. I got to wonder what this is.
Oh, so, Team Eric.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you.
Now I wish I wouldn't have played
What's
that
the
little
score?
3-second follow-up. Way too much to way too little, roughly.
Your boy's on top. Sorry.
He's beat me by, I don't know, a couple handfuls.
I'm telling you, it's because you lost the weight.
Could be. Whatever it is, I don't like it. James in Sydney, a perennial voicemailer. Oh, come on. What did I do?
Mr. Everett, what's going on, fellas?
What up, James?
James from Sydney.
He's in the
wanted
chat
to hit
today,
you
isn't
guys up, man. I missed the live call-in show
Yeah.
last week. This fucking daylight savings time had me all messed up. But whatever. Anyways, just wanted to call, check in with you guys. I understand that Armand is on the show today.
He
so
is.
What's up, Armand? Good to see you back here.
Everybody
Thank
likes
you,
it.
sir. Thank you.
And then this Nick Drago or Nick somebody guy. He's on the show, right? He's touting on and on about this OJ Simpson case, man. I hope he fucking has something good. I mean,
We'll
this
see.
OJ Simpson case.
He's
has
gonna
been
bring it.
beat left and right, man. I don't know what else he could possibly uncover, but I'm interested to hear what's going on.
He got
Otherwise,
notes for
yeah,
days.
just before I forget, just want to shout out that motherfucker Steve-O down in Mel B. Fucking dog cunt. If you ever come up here in the city, man, just hit me up. We'll go grab a couple of long necks and see
He's talking to me?
who
I think so.
get chopped.
Oh, definitely. I like
All
beer.
right, fellas. Peace out.
Definitely, I like beer. Yeah, but you've never been to Australia. You probably never will go. But if you do, go to Sydney, talk with James.
Bell's Beach, bro.
Oh, God. I've seen that movie one too many times, haven't we?
Point Break, yeah, I fucking love Point Break.
All right, so we got a voicemail now here from Sam.
Oh, hello, motherfuckers.
Oh, hello.
What's up, guys? This is Sam.
What's up, Sam?
Been listening to you guys for about a year now, and you guys actually got me into podcasts.
Oh.
Tim Everett, by the way.
Yeah, fuck you, Eric.
That's all right. You can't win them
I
all.
only say that because he sounds like Seth Rogen. and that shit is funny.
Qualifier.
Anyways,
It's the truth.
I think
though.
one topic you guys
so
should
true.
talk about, and I brought this up not too long ago, is Orfeo Angelucci. He lived in Burbank, California, and he claimed to have had many extensive conversations with extraterrestrials.
Yeah, me too.
And even visited their planet. But
Oh.
he's got
One upper.
a
I got
couple
it.
books that he's written about his experiences. So I think you guys could do maybe a whole show on him.
Actually,
Anyways,
I see a show. Hold on, let me get this
I
paused.
used to listen to Coast.
Hang on, Everett's got to pause you.
We could easily do a show about people claiming to have been, had a contact and been abducted and or left and visited other planets. That'd be a good one.
Yeah, it'd be an hour and a half of us calling
Twice
people
already,
crazy.
people. Probably, but
That's exactly what the show would be. Oh, we're gonna in-depth dive into
dude,
some
like
of these
I've always said,
alien
if
abductions.
99 out
yep,
of
that dude's
100,
fucking crazy.
if 99 out of 100 are bullshit, and the one out of a million isn't, you got to try to find that one.
Wait a minute. 99 out of 100.
I'm saying if
and then
99
1 out
out
of
of
a million is not. It's your arithmetic.
Well,
that
yeah,
I'm
it's off.
checking here. Yeah.
I'm just taking it even further. It's even if it's like 1 out of 100, 1 out of a million.
Right.
It doesn't
Well,
matter.
Nick, I think you have an opinion on that, don't you?
Yeah.
Alien
Time for a little
abductions?
controversy. Here, go ahead.
Get up to the mic if you would, Nick.
I mean, in short, yeah. I mean, I believe we've been visited. I mean, yeah.
And these abductions have occurred, or you've just been
I
visited?
believe, yeah. Man, I don't know anymore.
Yeah, I hear you, dude. Some of them are.
I mean, sometimes.
Some of them are
Yeah,
compelling.
actually, no. I gotta go back. Yes, I do. I do believe there have been some abductions, but there's so many phonies out there wanting to get paid for an interview.
That's exactly the
paid
problem.
to
Very
write
true.
A book, something like that. But the Betty and Barney Hill, the people that whoever brought that up, that's a big one, and that is something I don't believe it should be discounted. That's huge.
Why is that so compelling to you?
Because a lot of people, when they talk about this, a lot of abductees, there's like a checklist. Oh yeah, I was sleeping and then this happened. I saw a light and I couldn't move. Man, I could fake it. I could say I believe this, but I've never been abducted. And I had a weird experience one time actually. But anyway, I don't know. But anyway, Betty and Barney Hill. There was no like literature about this before and everything. You know what I'm saying? There was nothing for them to fake it on.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
Sure.
this was like 1966. And it was just passed over. A lot of people didn't want to touch it because they were an interracial couple, and people thought that it would muck it up. So people just didn't want to muck up the subject. People didn't pay attention to them for a while.
So of all the alleged abductions, you find that one the most convincing.
Yeah, I thought that Whitley Strieber, author of Communion and those books, I thought that he was the real deal too, and I still don't know because I just don't know. I think he's probably CIA.
Okay. So, okay. Well, OJ has a comment. Did you see that? I was abducted by the cops before.
I bet you.
So
that's true.
We have the awesome.
You try to get away.
Awesome thing going on today. If somebody with a what's it called, novelty account in YouTube going by the handle of OJ Simpson, leaving us some funny fucking comments.
It must be him. The picture is OJ.
I mean, the picture is OJ, but
who else could it be?
I haven't got my email yet saying.
All right, let's break through the rest of these voicemails so we can get down to talking about OJ. 35 minutes in. No,
no, this
yet.
one wasn't done. We got 20 seconds left on Sam's.
Coast to Coast.
You used to listen to Coast
But
to Coast.
I find that you guys are a little more interesting.
This much.
Every now and
Barely.
then. Sometimes you guys.
Art Bell's pretty good.
Yeah, we do suck.
Ass hoe. Finger popping your ass hoes.
Okay.
But yeah, you guys are cool.
Peace. Peace.
Take it easy, Sam. Thanks.
Did he just say we finger our ass? I don't even get what was going on there.
Finger popping.
Finger popping? Is that the same as?
It's a thing the kids. Yeah.
Oh. Okay. Well then, fuck you, guy.
What's that mean?
It's not a bad thing, I don't think.
Oh.
It's
finger in your butthole is totally a bad
He wasn't
thing.
talking about your butt. Never mind. Moving on.
Oh.
I'm going to destroy the pronunciation on this name. It's Devo Al-Malik.
Yeah, that's
Maybe
it.
I'm not going to. It
Pretty
seems like it's
close,
right. Yeah. All right, here we go.
Hey, guys.
What up?
Let me just say, the listener call-in show, generally like those, way too all over the place. And the people you had calling in were just lame. I
Well,
don't
where
even
were
know
you?
what was going on. It
Why
was
didn't you
just
call in?
plain lame.
Oh, well.
I'm from the big city in your state.
What big
best
city?
in the world, Chicago, Illinois.
Where else?
And here's a real conspiracy. Here's a real
It is.
legend that might be playing out currently.
Uh-oh.
So anybody who is dumb enough to read our president's tweets or watch Fox News
Every
knows
day.
that, Chicago has an issue with gun violence.
Oh yeah.
And particularly in the South and West Side neighborhoods. I teach on the South Side, so I'm in the neighborhood quite often. A lot of women are going missing. Apparently, they get found murdered in alleys, and some people are asking
No news
if
there.
there is a serial killer on the loose in Chicago.
Always is, I'm sure.
A couple years ago in Northwest Indiana, they found a bunch of dead hookers in abandoned houses.
Hey, what's your alibi for that, Eric?
I didn't have any dead hookers in my trailer today.
Okay, just
in
saying.
Gary, Indiana.
Nick's feed.
And if you're familiar with the Chicago area, Gary and Northwest Indiana is right next door to Chicago. People travel to and from there all the time. So I don't know, maybe that's connected.
Oh shit, Nick's camera died.
You guys are not like investigators or anything, but it would be interesting to look
No, not at all.
into. I like the podcast. I don't know
Thank
why.
you. I don't know why.
Two brothers talk, basically.
Je ne
That's
sais
what it
quoi.
is. So if you keep doing it, I'll keep listening.
technical difficulty on
Yeah.
All right, Dumbos. Talk to you later.
Nick's been
All right.
obliterated.
Well, we appreciate your voicemail. Is it going through to the next one, or is?
it's not.
All right. Everett's having a technical issue here. Nick's camera seems to have shut off. No big deal. Everett's working on it.
of course not.
He will get it taken care of.
Wow.
Well, that's.
Yeah, I know. I did not.
Uh-oh.
We'll have Brian edit this.
So who?
No, we won't.
Now I assume you guys have done serial killer shows.
Oh,
on
yeah, we
there.
did a whole
Who's
serial
who do you
killer
find the
Sunday.
most interesting of all the serial killers? So we have a time to serial kill.
And enough of that.
Jeffrey
Who do I
Dahmer.
find most interesting? I always liked fucking Jeffrey Dahmer. Don't get much weirder than that guy.
Ed Gein's my favorite.
Ed Gein's a good one
They
too.
make movies, you know.
All right. Come on, let's finish these voicemails.
We got three more
up.
voicemails.
We'll hammer out the The OJ.
This next one's from Andrew Hansen.
Hey guys, what's up?
Not much. What's up?
Andrew here from North Carolina.
All right.
First thing,
Denver.
Team Eric.
Denver.
All day, every day.
That's right, baby. Thank you.
Fuck you, Everett.
Oh,
You pissed me off, and I really
3-1
think
on the day.
that you
Thanks for that,
don't make
Andrew.
a whole lot of sense on anything.
Oh, man. Big
Another
fan.
reason to back up my choice is that it took me all of 4 minutes to find Eric's motherfucking Xbox Live, name.
Sure.
And you, on the other hand, like 17 minutes digging around the internet all to find your gamer tag. Fuck that.
Fuck that.
How the hell did you find my
he
gamer
sucks
tag? Actually,
too,
if you
man.
can try it on my Twitter. So you
sucks
suck.
too.
You suck for not being able to find it in 2
I
seconds.
listen as often as I can. I'm not going to sit here and pretend to be on your dick where, I listen to every episode. I love you guys so much.
I wish you
my
would.
My life is incomplete without you. No. I put you guys
I like
on
this
when
guy.
I can and
This
when
guy's
I'm in the
terrible.
mood. But every time I do, it's fucking great.
Thank you.
Wow.
Also, I am a combat veteran,
Oh,
and
nice.
All right.
I
Appreciate
know
your
you
service.
guys support the troops,
Absolutely.
and I appreciate that very, very much. So I had a couple ideas, man.
Let's hear
The
'em.
first one was, maybe going through the list of unexplained sounds on Wikipedia. You've got Julia, bloop, upsweep, train, all that shit.
You're blowing my fucking mind here, guy.
The next one is and with the numbers, with the sounds, like they've,
The fuck's he
they've
talking about?
kind of, I guess, figured it out. Like they've given their answer, air quotes, but it's bullshit.
I don't know what he's talking
Like
about.
either they're covering something up or they don't fucking know what's going on.
Hold on, I gotta stop. What's he talking about?
I can assume maybe the big
Like
horns.
those. I think he's talking about those stations that just. Well, he might be talking about that, like the weird noises in the sky, or
Unexplained
those number
noises.
stations that just broadcast those weird sequences of numbers.
Yeah, those are fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Another one is UVB 76. It's a Russian number station.
Yeah, that's
just
exactly
been
what he's talking about,
active
those number
for years
stations.
and
Yep.
years, and as of lately, like the past 5-6 years, it's really started to pick up. And lastly, just number stations on a whole. I think all of those would be really, really cool shows. So, I appreciate you guys doing it. Please keep it up.
Fuck you, Andrew.
Oh,
sorry.
Fuck you, Everett.
What?
Wow.
See you later.
He responds.
That was way too interactive
That was
there.
eerie as shit.
Jeez.
All right.
Is that email info@Surreal Talk? OJ's asking again.
Yeah, I put it in to show up info@surrealtalkpodcast.com.
Perfect. There he goes.
Yeah, that was rough right off the gate with
Yeah,
fuck me. And
Two
then
fuck yous in one voicemail.
I sat there and stewed for a while and sent it right back at him, and he was ready.
You have to admire the
That was
man's decisive.
Quite creepy. All right, moving on to James and Sydney.
Last one, right?
No, 2 more.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Too many
Right
tangents.
here. Last time we do this many.
It's your boy James again from Sydney, man.
What's up, James?
I just finished up listening to last week's podcast.
Sorry.
With the live call-in show and all that.
Right.
Man, and you guys crack me up, man. But first thing I just want to say, and no disrespect intended.
Here it comes.
But I hope this week that Everett is off his period, man. He was really on that rag hard enough.
What?
But that's probably just because he rear-ended somebody because he was texting him.
He did too. That was
But
great.
anyways, I just want to get to the point, man. You guys talking about fighting like wild fucking animals to the death
Yeah.
is ludicrous.
I think I could take a bear, a small bear.
200-pound black bear
Yeah, that.
would fuck your shit
Agree to
up.
disagree.
I mean, you're talking about 200 pounds of raw beef.
You're talking about 250 pounds of raw beef, pal.
Testosterone, angry, all he knows is how to survive.
Yeah, bear
and
would
then,
fuck you
and
up.
then fighting a lion
Lion with a sword.
katana blade.
Yes.
You have a little bit more luck there, but still, I mean, you're gonna have to get in like a perfect throat strike and just cut his
Oh, I
fucking
will.
esophagus in half before he can touch you.
Yeah, I think
And,
you're pretty well fucked.
And the other thing about these fucking kangaroos, man, they're pretty
What the hell were we
docile
talking about
creatures,
that
but
day?
when they're ready to fight, what they do is rock back on their tail, and their back legs are
I've seen
super
Sylvester.
powerful, and they have these really like prehistoric talons on them.
Yeah, they'll fucking
and what they'll
disembowel
do
you.
is just fucking gut you, so your fucking
That's what you were
intestines
saying,
and stomach will be laying on the floor. Yeah, it's pretty intense stuff, man. But yeah, just have a good one. Looking forward to listening to this show, and as always, man, be easy.
Thanks, James.
Wow. What were you were menstruating last week?
I guess
What's
so.
the matter with you?
Who knows, man? I'm always fucking something. Who knows?
Estrogen overdose.
I guess. All right, last one of the week. You're welcome, and it's coming from longtime listener, good guy, Kevin Yarrow.
Oh,
Love
Kevin,
this guy.
what's up, Kevin?
Canadian.
Yeah.
Won't hold that against him.
No.
He's Surreal
Hey.
Talk. It's Kevin Yarrow.
What's up, Kevin?
I just wanted to say I was reading a thing about how Barbara Bush is Aleister Crowley's illegitimate daughter.
Nice.
Talked about that.
Have a good one.
Oh, we will.
She looks like him. She looks like
I
him.
brought in pictures.
What are the implications of that?
Nick knew that years ago.
Like if she really was.
Yeah. What would be the
well,
the conspiracy?
I don't know. It's just weird, I guess.
I could get into that.
Make her
Get it,
the,
dude.
the wickedest woman in America.
Expound
then,
upon it.
Since that's her dad. Isn't he the wickedest man in England? That's what he was called.
A lot of numerology. A lot of his like numerology is tied in with like 9/11. Like the 4 planes, alleged planes used in 9/11 are all like 93, 175, 11, and 77, and these are all numbers that figure into his philosophy, teachings, numerology. The numbers are a big deal. These people, these occultists. So yeah, you know.
All right. Well, thanks for the call, Kevin. I guess let's end the voicemail part up. That's the whole show. We'll see you guys next week.
Yeah, right. No shit.
fun.
50 minutes in on the broadcast. Here we go. Let's get into OJ, guys.
Right. No shit. So everyone knows. Introduce Nick. We've already done that. Nick's here. Armand's
Man
here.
needs
Drew's
no
back
introduction.
running the production
Drewski.
back there. And other than that, though, we're ready to roll, man. So who was OJ? Anybody know?
Why don't you tell us, Eric?
I'll leave it to the sports fans.
Who was he?
Well, so OJ was an American guy.
Oh, Lord.
Absolutely.
No. He won the Heisman Trophy in 1968.
Correct.
Apparently, he was pretty good at football. 11 seasons in the NFL.
Born in 47, died in 2024.
Wait, what?
What? Oh,
Yeah.
it's just a guess.
In 73, became the first NFL player to rush for more than 2,000 yards in a season.
Correct.
And this is the insane stat that I was telling Everett. This is gnarly. He holds the record for a single season yards per game average, which stands at 143.1.
Yeah.
143.1 yards per game average.
Right, because he's the only man
fucking
to
gnarly,
have.
dude.
Other people have had 2,000-yard seasons, but all 16 games.
Yeah,
14.
he did
His was 14
he did
games.
14 game
right.
format.
And for the
yeah.
Bills, who weren't very good.
Bird.
They were
Yeah, damn.
awful.
He's also an actor. He played in, let's see, a lot of movies. The Naked Gun series he was in. What else?
I don't know.
Let's take a look here.
He's in a lot of stuff.
Although he was supposed to be the Terminator.
Towering Inferno.
Yeah,
Was he in the original Towering Inferno?
He was in Roots.
Yes, he was.
Was he in Roots?
Roots.
He was
yes.
supposed to be the Terminator, but they thought he was too nice.
Yeah.
Really?
When that work out?
Ironically, yeah. Nobody believe it because he's too nice a guy.
Let's see. Nothing really good else here. Goldie in the Boxer. I mean, some shit. He was in an episode of In the Heat of the Night.
Can't do it, Jordan.
I
Can't.
liked In the Heat of the Night.
I'll take a sip.
Yeah, that's about it. Is any good. So his acting career was actually kind of shit. He was okay in Naked Gun. Those movies were pretty good. But.
Definitely. So he wrote that book though, as of recently.
He wrote it in 2005,
Right,
6,
right.
and it was
If I
published
Did It or
originally in
whatever?
7. Yeah.
Yeah. If I did it.
Remember the cover? It said "I did it," but the "if" was just like this, huge letters. And then
Yes.
the "if" was
Interesting
just
marketing
really
in that.
tiny.
Have you
All
read
right.
that, Nick?
No, I will not read that piece of fiction.
Okay. Let's hear it.
I would like to just get this out of the way now.
Let's hear it. I'm with it.
And this is what made me like. I sat down I sat down and started watching this, and I couldn't watch it after 5 minutes. I'm like, no.
Watching what?
All right, here's the deal.
The trial.
He did an interview. No, he did an interview. It was on 2 weeks ago, and it was like, lost interview found from 2006. OJ, hypothetical interview where he hypothetically confesses, where he says, if I did it, this is how it would have been done. Okay. Now let me explain. In 1997, when Fred Goldman and the Browns won the civil trial, he owed them some millions. Fred Goldman said OJ can keep every penny if he writes a full confession. And OJ was like, fuck you, I didn't do it, and I'm not writing any confession. Well, as the years went on, I guess I don't understand these things legally, but interest piled up and he owed him more and more money. And I guess after a while of being like a pariah in your community and being called a murderer and all this, you just get sick of it. And he was just, fuck it, okay, I'll write it. I'm going to write this book. And the interview and the book were a joint deal. Fred Goldman owns the rights to this book.
Right.
Really?
Harper,
I didn't know that.
Yes, and he gets the money from it, not OJ Simpson.
And it does count off of the civil suit award, too. So
Okay, HarperCollins, the publisher, actually chose the ghostwriter, and the ghostwriter, his name is Pablo Fineves. Sorry. It's
Italian bird.
Fenjves. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce it. But this guy that wrote it was also Nicole Brown's neighbor. They shared an alley. He lived across. And he was a witness for the prosecution.
Oh, man.
All right? So, I mean, has O.J. Simpson gone on and, really confessed? No. Has he tweeted about it? No. Has he, gone on and said, yes, I'm really guilty and this and that,
I'd like to talk to his roommate in prison. See what, what's said late at night, bunk to bunk.
That's true.
Yeah.
That would be nuts.
I don't know. I think OJ's a little too hard of a case. I think if he did it to ever actually let it out, you're talking about a careful sumbitch here who don't want to go to jail.
No.
Just throwing that out there anyway.
Well, I'll tell you, yeah, I agree. Now, look, when this trial was going on in 94, or the murders happened in 94, 95 was the trial, I was living in New York City, and I worked at 4:30 every day, so I got to watch the trial all fucking day and just smoke pot, watch the trial, and then go to work.
Sounds like a day.
Yeah,
oh,
sounds great.
So
Nice
I did
vocation.
that for months and months, and I got really into it. And then when it got to the blood evidence and stuff, first, okay, I thought he did it, and then I didn't think it. I wasn't so sure. And then when the blood evidence got there, it lost me because I didn't understand it,
Yeah, because at the time, DNA and blood evidence was really new.
Yeah. And so I didn't really understand it, and I just kind of, what I think a lot of people did, they counted on the news, the nightly news, to summarize the day's events. And the news put such a spin on it.
Right. Well, like they do with everything.
I mean, there would be an objection sustained, by the prosecution would say objection to this, and it would come out on, it would be sustained, and then on the nightly news, you would see another devastating blow to the defense. This really ridiculous, they only played it up to sensationalize that a celebrity, murdered his wife. If it wasn't a celebrity, there's nothing to sell, you know what I'm saying, except a sad story about, poor woman and her friend murdered. So I think they played it up. Plus, okay, so one at a time here. So the timeline is the reason why.
So I was just going to say, let's go through the timeline. I got a real good timeline here.
Okay, because the timeline does not allow O.J. Simpson to commit these crimes. Here's the thing, and this is what a few years ago when I started looking into this, like I said, I thought he was just guilty. So I started looking into this stuff a few years ago, and I learned about the Ocean Medical Investigative Group, which is at the core of my research on this, and led by a man named T.H. Johnson and his brother, Dr. Henry Johnson, and there's other people there. He pointed out in a book he wrote called In Pursuit of Exhibit 35 that the Browns and, they all went to the Mezzaluna restaurant after a dance recital, okay? They all left together by witness testimony, 3 witness testimonies. They all said that they left about 8:45, okay? I'm talking witnesses like restaurant staff.
Right.
They all left at 8:45. The Browns live 75 miles away in Orange County. Now, the coroner's investigator asked Lou Brown, when did you last know your daughter to be alive? Lou Brown said 11 o'clock. O.J. Simpson was in the limousine at 10:55, okay? Then, after he spoke with the prosecution, he rolled that time back. Now, if they left at 8:45, okay, hold on. He said that the call happened at, let's just say the prosecution and defense stipulated that it happened at 9:37. This phone call happened at 9:37, okay? It's really hard to believe that these two people, grandparents, grandparents drove 75, in less than an hour's time, 75 miles to make that call, okay? Also, Nicole's neighbor, who also, hang on. Nicole's neighbor, Denise Pilnack, said she had company, she had company. She testified to a dog barking, okay?
Right.
She said the dog barked for 45 minutes. When they asked her, what time did you hear that dog barking, she said between 11 and 11:30. They're like, oh, well, she thinks OJ Simpson did it. Then she goes back and emails or faxes Phil Van Adder and tells her, I went through everything I did yesterday and timed it. Okay, sure. And then she says, this happened after I got off the phone with my mother at 10:25. Now, she said she had company at 10:20. 10:20, she walks her company outside. Nobody barking. Nothing. She tells her company as she walks, as her company walks in her car and she sees her drive away, she says, it's a quiet night tonight in the neighborhood. She gets on the phone with her mother. Tells her mother the same thing. When she gets off the phone at 10:30, she says 5 to 7 minutes later, 10:37, a dog started barking, okay? Now let's say that those murders happened at 10:35. Let's just give them that, okay? Let's say they happened at 10:35.
I'm with it.
Three different people testified. Let's see. I'm trying to think of their names. They all testified that this crime had to have taken 10 to 15 minutes. Let's go with the lesser time to save the argument and say 10 minutes. 10:47, 10:45. I'll even give him that. OJ Simpson would have had to, at 10:45, get in his car and drive 6 minutes to his house. That's 10:51. Alan Parks saw him at 10:55.
Yeah, the limo driver, right?
Right. Okay, so that gives OJ 4 minutes to walk inside the house, walk up his thing, go inside the house, take off every stitch of clothing, because 3 of these doctors said that once you cut the jugular veins, 2 of them, and all these stab wounds, the person would be covered. They would be covered in blood. Okay,
but didn't he have her? Didn't the way they alleged him stabbing her? He had her down on the floor with his foot on her back and grabbed her by the hair, like so that way. When he cut her neck, she would have been facing down. I would have think the arterial spray would more head toward the floor versus the on him.
That's interesting.
I would think
maybe. I mean that's a surmise.
Very good forensic point.
Okay. But I mean,
there's still going to be a fucking...
Yeah, no, it's going to be a bloody mess. You're
mess,
absolutely right. At the very least, your shoes are fucked. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
At the very least, your shoes and shit are just trashed.
And O.J. Simpson had off-white carpet. You know what I mean? Not a drop on that carpet. Yeah. So he went upstairs. He had 4 minutes to go upstairs.
He supposedly left those shoes that he wore in his Bronco, though. They recovered those shoes.
Yeah. In the Bronco?
I don't know anything about that. I don't know.
That's something I read earlier today. I'm pretty sure they found this.
Okay, hang on.
Let me take a look here. O.J. Simpson shoes.
You should just
But you're saying the time doesn't jive.
The time doesn't jive. Even with Ronald Goldman, it doesn't jive. Because the defense thinks that it happened like around 10:15. That guy, that Pablo Fenves, whatever, that wrote the book, he testified he heard the dog wailing at 10:10 and that it was over by 10:15, that the dog stopped barking at 10:15. He believes that the murders were done by 10:15. Now, let me talk about Ron Goldman's timeline, which nobody even talks about, okay? Ron Goldman clocked out that night at 9:33. His manager, Joe DeBello, says that he sat with him after he clocked out, signed his time card, and had a glass of wine with him for about 15 minutes. So where are we at now? That's about 10:48, 10:50 we'll say about. And then Ron got up, and meanwhile, during this time, he's having his glass of wine, Juditha Brown, Nicole's mother, calls about her glasses that she left there.
Right, at the restaurant.
The hostess, the girl that answered the phone, or manager, she goes to Ron and says, yeah, Nicole left her glasses here. He says, oh, give them to me. I'm going to have another glass of wine. I'm going to go home and get cleaned up. And I'll take the glasses over to her. Now, he had another glass of wine at 10 till 10, okay? They all surmise that he left the restaurant at 10 because nobody can remember really, they don't think they saw him after 10 o'clock. So we'll say he left at 10 o'clock. He walked home. He lived a fifth of a mile away from the restaurant.
That's not a long walk. 2-3 minutes.
No,
if you're trucking.
I have read that the average person will walk in 4 minutes.
Yeah, there you go.
Walk up to his apartment. We'll say 5 minutes. That's 10:05. Okay. He had plans to go out with his friend. They were going to go to this hip ass bar, and then so that stands to reason. If he was going to do that, you would think he would take a shower and get changed.
Mm-hmm.
In the crime scene photo, he's not wearing the Metzaluna uniform. And there is a uniform. He's wearing jeans, sneakers, and a shirt, okay? Stands to reason that he got home, took a shower, got cleaned up, if he was going to go see Nicole and fool around with her, which has never been proven, really. That, I would imagine, he took a shower and got cleaned up, and took about, 10 minutes, 20 minutes? He also ate a spinach salad because there was undigested spinach in his stomach, okay? Now, let's just say that 10:30, okay, I'm sorry, back up.
Yeah, I'm wondering where this is going because,
that's,
whatever Ron did in the meantime, he did make it there to get murdered.
No, I know, but it couldn't have happened at 10:10.
Okay,
and it couldn't have happened at 10:15, and that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, from everything I see, I'm with you. I think it happened closer to actually 10:35, 10:40.
That's what a lot of people say, and that does not give OJ Simpson enough time to take a shower and get dressed and hide all this shit forever.
And it doesn't also jive up, and I'm not saying it was OJ at the time, but Cato Kalin reports at 10:40, 10:45, he hears 3 loud bumps. So Cato Kalin is a guy who, for a while, stayed with Nicole. He's a bit part actor.
He's a friend of OJ and Nicole.
Right, family friend.
In a guest house, though, wasn't it?
Right, and eventually he moves into OJ's guest house. Well, at 10:40, 10:45 that night, he reports, and he testified to this, that he heard 3 decently loud bumps on the outside of his house, which he alleges were his OJ coming back after the murders, kind of given a time and place. But if it was at that time, it still doesn't work out.
I don't see how I still don't, like, if Cato heard that and then came out and talked to him, wouldn't he see OJ? He didn't testify of seeing OJ getting cleaned up. Oh, yeah, he was in the shower, and you know what I'm saying? Or washing, you know what I'm saying? He doesn't. He was hiding some
clothes. We're all unanimous that if OJ did this, he would need some sort of shower. He's going to need to clean up, regardless. You're not going to be able to
They
go
say
and
those
do
bumps,
anything.
too, was OJ had earlier in the day left one of his side doors open to get back in, like he had planned this out.
Right.
And Cato had allegedly, or this so goes the story, locked that door earlier when he had set the alarm for the house. It said, hey, the side door is actually unlocked. So he went over there and locked it. So the bumps he heard supposedly was OJ trying to get back in his own fucking house because the door's locked.
Right.
So just throwing that.
You know what?
Thanks,
just
James,
a little
for the
flavor
donation.
there.
Thanks,
That's
James
interesting,
and Jordan.
and
appreciate it.
I can't really explain those bumps. They have been explained by a lot of people in that
Right.
neighborhood were complaining about their air conditioner units, and he lived in a guest house, and Cato was on drugs at the time.
Right.
What kind of drugs was he on? Do you know?
He said he was high. That's,
Early 90s, it was either fucking weed, cocaine, or heroin. There wasn't much else at that time.
Could have been all,
I mean, speed.
But I mean,
in
he
LA,
could have
though.
been like paranoid on
guess
coke and doing, you know what I'm saying, just got a little paranoid. What the hell was that, or something like that.
Could very well have been.
But anyway, also he goes to OJ, and OJ Simpson goes out and checks on this noise that he said he heard, because Alan Park said that he saw somebody leave the house, walk down this walkway, and then walk back into the house. And that's what he said. And OJ even said, that was me. I was checking on the bumps that Cato heard. Okay? Now, this is what's interesting is that Alan Park said he saw somebody exit the house and then walk down the driveway and then walk back in the house.
Right.
The media, or Marsha Clark, the prosecuting attorney, and the media, she said, so when did you see this shadowy figure running across the lawn? That's not what he said, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then the news. They talked about a shadowy figure in OJ's front yard, like running into the house.
Let me ask you this.
Not at all what they said. And then people just buy that and they remember that shit and they're fucking brainwashed. I'm sorry.
So Alan Park, the limo driver that OJ had hired, who was driving the limo that was going to take him to the airport later that night. And I'd love to know a little bit more about that trip he was taking. But he reports recalling that when he drove up to the house, he clearly remembers looking for the address and seeing the address written on the outside of the house. What's interesting about that is he does not remember seeing OJ's Bronco.
Yeah.
But the next morning, OJ's Bronco is parked right outside the house, right basically in front of where the numbers were at.
Yeah.
So and by the time OJ had left, the Bronco was there. So in the amount of time he saw the address numbers around 10:20 or so, 10:30, whenever he shows up to pick OJ up, the Bronco had appeared.
Yeah.
So covering.
So he
it's
went
just kinda
somewhere.
weird. But it didn't necessarily mean
weird.
OJ was driving that Bronco. Just throwing that out there.
That's true. Arnell Simpson was staying at the house. His daughter Arnell was staying at the house that night.
Could have been. Could have been Jason. We're going to talk about him in a little bit too. But
yeah.
Anyway, carrying on.
So I that's why I don't think that the timeline doesn't allow it. And then you have like blood evidence that can't be trusted because of the source of the person because of contamination, which I thought Barry Scheck did a great job pointing out. Like he pointed out to I think Henry Lee or Fung, one of those guys, how he's got them on the surveillance camera when they're collecting this evidence, and they're not changing gloves, and they're walking through the blood. And did you know also, Phil Van Adder?
What about him?
Okay.
I don't know the name off the top of my head.
I don't want to get ahead of myself here.
It's one of the cops,
this is what's interesting. Yeah, it was one of the detectives, him and Tom Lang and
Furman,
and
right?
Officer MF. Yeah,
motherfucker.
Yeah. So
it's funny.
So anyway, so here's the thing. So when OJ Simpson, here's a misconception about it. When they called OJ Simpson in Chicago and they told him, your wife is dead, people say he didn't ask which wife. No, and I have that right here. The guy told him, I have some bad. Ron Phillips, Officer Ron Phillips. This is in the trial testimony. He said, I told OJ I had really bad info about his ex-wife. He became very upset. This is his, people are like, he wasn't upset. He didn't ask who, he didn't ask how. And he just kept on repeating, oh my God, Nicole is dead. What do you mean she's been killed? And he was inconsolable. Everybody but
they're trying to turn it into like because he didn't ask who the wife was.
Yeah, and it's not true.
He automatically knew.
Right. He was told which ex-wife.
How long at this point had he been divorced from his first wife? You know what I mean? So he's already been divorced from Nicole for 4 years at the time that they were murdered or something like that.
Like 2 years.
So that would, and they were married
divorced
for
the first wife in '78.
Okay,
it was early.
Jesus Christ, Armand, probably. I believe you. I do. But so think about it. So if you divorce her in '78, this is '94, and they're telling him this. I mean, it's not that hard to automatically assume that they're talking about Nicole Brown whenever he just got divorced from her. I mean, this lady hasn't been in his life in 20 years. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, yeah. Well, they told him too.
Okay, so he got divorced the first time, March of '79. Divorced from Brown in February '92.
That was close, Armand.
Close.
Shit.
All right.
I'm improvising here.
Look, some people say, well, if this is a conspiracy, then it would have to involve the whole Los Angeles police force and all this. I don't believe that at all. No, here's what happened. You got one racist cop, and I'm not here to play the race card. I'm not here, but I got to bring it up where it was brought up in the trial. He was Mark Furman went to Rockingham, OJ's house, after being at the crime scene, goes to Rockingham. Illegally climbs
Scales the fence. Yeah, I thought that was
Imagine
bullshit,
that
too.
happening to Tom Brady.
And there's not
Imagine
even
it being
really
3 black cops and jump. Never mind. I said I wouldn't do that. Okay, go ahead.
Feel free.
Take it away.
It's really
fine.
It's kind of ridiculous. I think you knew what I was going to say. So here's the thing. So he jumps the fence. They go up to the door. Furman tells Lang and Van Adder, "Okay, I'm just going to take a walk around." Then he finds the glove by himself.
Right.
Isn't it interesting that the blood or I'm sorry. If you believe that his hand fit that glove or not, it fit him tight. Why wasn't that glove inside out? Wouldn't you have to peel it off inside out if you're going to take it off?
The only thing I can think of is maybe investigators turned it inside or back right out for a blood sample, maybe on the outside.
But he photographed it when he saw it.
Yeah, that's a good point. Just sitting there on. Yeah.
All right.
That's a good question.
Well, I mean, let's think about it logistically.
If it was the first glove he took off, or
if you're committing a murder and you're putting these gloves on so that you don't leave evidence behind, you're not going to do this. You're not going to buy, you see that traditional, but you're not going to do that because obviously you're leaving saliva and everything else. So if you take one glove off and you go to take the other one off, you're putting fingerprints back on the outside. So, I mean, it would literally have to be inside out for this. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I totally know what you're saying.
Because if not, you're picking each. As
Okay.
tight as that was,
I disagree.
It would take a long time.
I disagree with both of you right here, and I'll tell you why.
it.
If you watch the video, we watched it earlier today of him trying the gloves on.
Yeah.
Obviously, he makes a huge deal of how hard it is to get these gloves on.
Well,
with
right,
the gloves
it
on.
helps his case
But
to
at the
do
end
so,
of
I
it, he's
get
like,
that.
"Oh, see, it doesn't work." But then he just slips those fuckers off quick as shit, even though he.
You
had
think
to,
so?
Okay, but
watch
hold on.
the video.
Hold
I'll show
on.
you right here.
And also, though, if the cop were planning evidence, wouldn't he take that into account? Is he that stupid?
Well, hold on.
That he wouldn't turn the glove inside out? You're implying that he planted this glove.
Yes, I am.
So wouldn't he know that it's probably, if I'm taking this off, I should turn it inside out.
Let me restart.
Well, he's not a very smart person. Mark
Well,
Furman.
see, I don't like excuses like that.
I know. I'm sorry. Well, that
one doesn't jive.
I got for you on that.
See that, Eric, right there?
No, I did not.
Watch full screen. I'll pause it.
Oh.
Okay. Doesn't it? But hang on here, Everett. Doesn't it stand to reason?
That fucking glove comes off like butter.
Did you see
Okay.
that?
Doesn't it stand to reason that if it's barely on, it would come off easy?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Check,
So
let me tell you the story about these gloves. The day before they had him try this on, and the made-for-TV movie got it wrong. The day before, they kind of got it right. Robert Shapiro takes these gloves, and he puts one on his hand. And they barely fit Robert Shapiro. Robert Shapiro goes and meets OJ in jail, and he says, they're going to ask you to try these gloves on tomorrow. They are not going to fit you. And he said OJ told him, Bob, that's what I've been telling you. That's what I've been talking about. That's what he said. So he put his hand up to OJ's, and OJ's hand just dwarfed his. Okay.
Somebody in the chat, Grabo Sneed, says, gloves don't come off inside out. Now, Grabo, I'm going to have to disagree with you because I used to wear gloves where I worked out a lot, and if your hands are sweaty and you've been doing a lot of work, / murder, whatever, if this were the case, and you go to pull gloves off, it's not just as easy as this. We're not talking about like a loose winter glove. Those gloves were there for a reason. His hands are obviously sweaty. If he murdered him, that glove would come off inside out.
There's an objection speculation. It could.
You're right. It could come off out regular.
My gloves always came off inside out. Of course, they were latex gloves.
Every time you see a doctor take off latex gloves, it's
that doesn't really count.
Okay, hang on though. Someone earlier on the thread when we were talking about this said that it was a vinyl glove on. He's like, and that there was a vinyl, that he had a latex or vinyl glove on first, and that made it harder for it to slip. But I think isotoners, aren't they fur lined? Aren't they like cloth lined?
Yeah, they have some sort of weird lining on the inside.
That would make it easier to slide on, I would think. If you had a latex glove on.
Yeah, a latex glove would make it easier.
I would think it would make it easier to slide on.
You're right.
Also, a lot of people say, well, these gloves were frozen, they were in evidence, and the blood shrank the evidence. I didn't know leather shrinks. I thought it stretches, not shrinks. But the gloves, and this is another thing, the defense just tore this down. These gloves were measured when they went into the evidence, and they were measured when he put them on, and they did not shrink. That guy did not have kill those people wearing those gloves. I really don't think so. But we can move on.
I mean, they were covered in blood. Those were the gloves. So yeah, you're right. It's probably not that guy. Now there's the thought that maybe OJ was there and a smaller person did it. I can buy that.
Let me yeah.
Hit me.
Come here.
Well, how did he lose one glove?
Yeah, that's the weird thing too.
Did he put the glove in his pocket
so the only
it
theory,
fell out?
The only theory
did
I
it
have
fall off his hand?
The only theory I have is they also found that sock hat at the scene.
Yeah.
And the theory I have is that he took off the glove to kind of feel down under a bush, under a fence, to where they also found the hat to try to find that glove, to have a little more of a tactile response. And they end up finding the hat and the glove really close to each other. So that's what I heard was the theory.
Yeah, there were pictures of the son wearing it, like around that time, period. Pictures of the son wearing that black type of hat.
Well, not necessarily
not
that one.
That one, and like something that was exactly like that.
Right.
Well, let me tell you, real quick, let me just get this out of the way. The fiber evidence that matches OJ, they said, or that could match OJ. Fiber evidence, I think, is bullshit. But one of the detectives took a blanket out of Nicole's house and covered her body with it. Now, is that not... That's directly contaminating a crime scene. They said it had like an animal hair on it. Well, she had a dog. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it seems like bad police work.
Come over to see his kids, sat down on the couch, whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's just.
Well, it doesn't really surprise me. Time after time in the trial, there was jury people were thrown out, evidence is thrown out due to this or that fucking procedure not being followed correctly. So kind of state of the.
That's what I think. Most people who think they did it think that the cops totally botched the whole thing.
Like on purpose? There's a thought too.
Well, maybe I don't know about it on purpose. Maybe like Nick said that his excuse. Maybe they're just stupid. But
now we cannot. Let's talk a little bit about Mark Furman for a second, since you brought up. I said he was stupid. Yeah.
Yes.
This guy. Do you remember the tapes? Do you remember this man perjured himself?
Which man?
In this, Mark Furman,
sure.
MF. He perjured himself. Now, a lot of people say that this was about race, that the jury acquitted him because they were predominantly black, and the race card was played. I don't believe that, man.
It definitely wasn't about race for OJ.
No.
No.
There were the jury was predominantly black.
I don't know.
It was like 9-2-1. 9 black, 2 white, 1 Mexican. Asian. No, I think it was Latin.
Well, actually, a lot of them got dismissed. There was double the size of jury you needed, and 6 of them were dismissed throughout the trial any which way. But mostly women started out. Actually, it was 10 women on the jury and 2 men at the start of the trial, which I found weird. Anyway, sorry.
That's our So, I think that they say that it was. Nobody saw every scrap of that evidence except the jury. And that's, it wasn't, I think it's kind of a racist thing to say about, a group of people you don't know, and you're judging their decision on the color of their skin. I think that's pretty messed up.
Well, I think it was, for me, it was the glee that they had to let him off. I mean, And
I don't want to generalize here.
I'm not saying he's black or what, he's black.
I can give a perfect example of this from a person who's in our group, Marissa Johnson. She's actually in the chat today. She said it, and she's the last one to say.
There's Marissa, yeah.
She says it was about race, and she says he did it. But she says in the chat, obviously as a black woman, she says it's weird. I'm going to say he didn't do it. But looking back 20 years ago, I absolutely would have said he was innocent, just because that was the time, and that's what you did as a black person.
Was heavy.
So,
yeah, I know.
I mean,
I appreciate the honesty on that from someone coming out saying, like, look, he did it. Looking back on it, that was the case. But back then, we couldn't really say that. Like, that was what we were, that was the
this is just one person
collective
saying
theory.
this, but, we'll take
OJ
her word for it.
just said, I didn't do nothing. Okay, that's it. Case closed.
This guy's great.
Okay, OJ, I believe you.
But I mean, that's pretty interesting way of looking at it, though. But yeah, the jury was 9 African Americans is in comparison to 2 white and 1.
Oh, absolutely, sure. I mean, I'd like a jury of Armenians if I'm going to go on trial for murder.
No, I don't think you would. They
that's,
know
that's
all about
true.
you.
As long as they haven't. yeah. Okay.
All right.
Well,
so
it's better than Turks.
No women either for your jury trial.
No women. No, I'd be dead.
Now, as far as like behavior and stuff like that, I'll get to that. But right now, it's usually I like to point out the timeline. I like to take apart the blood evidence. I like to take apart the glove, which I think I just gave it a shot.
Mm-hmm.
And there's the Bruno Mali shoe print, which
yeah.
Okay.
That, yeah.
Now, the only thing that ties OJ
is that pronounced Mali? It's not Magli. Is that
Mali? Bruno Mali? I thought it was Bruno Mali.
You're probably right.
Yeah.
I might be wrong.
It's M-A-G-L-I, but I don't know. It could probably, if it's like an Italian thing,
right.
it would.
I'd probably sound like
Benjamina Gigli was.
We murder pronunciations on the show regularly, so you'll fit. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, if the syllable don't fit.
Those square tiles, if you look at those footprints, those square tiles, first of all, OJ's foot, and this is based on records from his nurse that measured his foot is bigger than that
what else
shoe
did his
sole.
Nurse measure?
Oh my God. His foot is bigger than that shoe sole. That shoe is supposed to be 11 and a half. Jason wears a 12. OJ wears a 13.
So, according to this website, which is the actual evidence, says the shoe prints found at Bundy were from a size 12 Bruno Magli or Mali, however you say that shoe. Number 2, the bloody shoe impression on the Bronco carpet is consistent with the Magli shoe. And number 3, Simpson wore a size 12 shoe. So what they're basically concluding in this is that he did it because that meant,
okay. Do you know how they got his shoe size? Do you know how they determined the prosecution?
Same way they got his glove size, apparently.
Oh no.
Brannick device.
They took a pair of Reeboks out of his closet that were size 12, so they figure he's a size 12. Well, they weren't his fucking shoes. You know what I mean?
Was it his closet?
Nothing really ties OJ Simpson to ever owning, I know where you guys are going to go, a pair of Bruno Mali shoes.
What size shoe does he wear?
Nobody from Bloomingdale's or anywhere, any store that sells those shoes can remember selling them to OJ or anybody that OJ knows.
Well, here's what's interesting about that too.
No receipts, no nothing.
Those gloves were also bought at Bloomingdale's. They're Bloomingdale's exclusive. Those shoes were Bloomingdale's exclusive. It's known that OJ, well, actually Nicole bought the gloves. And that was proven. So in those shoes, there was only 200 pairs of those shoes at all imported in the United States. At all.
However, the people that or the company that made those shoes did not make those soles. Those soles were sold to many people. or many different shoemakers use those soles.
It was a pretty interesting pattern too.
Everett, Google what size shoe
but
he
here's the
actually
deal:
wears.
his foot's bigger than that. So I mean, his foot is bigger than the fucking sole. Is bigger than the shoe print. Now there were 3 photographs that came out like 3 years later of OJ supposedly wearing these shoes. I believe these are doctored. These photos. I'll talk about one of them. First of all 3 photographs come from 3 photographers that all happen to live in Buffalo. They have all since said that they didn't actually take the photo, but they just sold it to like the National Enquirer or whatever. One of these photos has OJ walking in the end zone, and you can see shadows, I'm pretty sure. I don't have it in front of me, but it's like sunshine. It's a sunny day. He's walking with suede shoes. In the background, you see people in the stands wearing ponchos and having umbrellas. It's a doctored fucking photo. I don't believe it.
The LA Times is consistent with what you're saying too. They put out an article saying that the photo was fake. Expert actually testified to that. So
yeah, I mean,
I'd like to see that photo.
Yeah,
I'm kind of an expert.
Yeah.
Oh, is that right?
So I say.
Who's this guy?
All right, so then we have the socks. Okay, the socks that were found in his bedroom with Nicole's blood on it. Okay, this is huge.
That's a hard one to explain away.
Well, that blood, Barry Scheck totally explained that away. First of all, you know when the cops come in, like a crime scene or whatever, they with a videotape, they videotape everything, right?
Right.
Socks were not on the floor in the video. Then there's a photograph with the socks on the floor. Those socks contained, the blood on those socks contained EDTA, which is a preservative that goes in blood vials, so it will preserve the blood.
Right.
We don't have it in our veins, folks. So
That's
I mean,
fair.
I think that's an anti-clotting.
So that is direct proof of them planting evidence right there, because that blood came from a vial of blood.
Yeah, a lot of people say
that he knowingly gave them. That he voluntarily gave them.
What do they do? Line these vials with that stuff on the inside of the vials?
Keep it from anticoagulant.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, he did.
Well, the question I think none of this stuff says to me that he didn't do it. It says the cops probably planted it and want to make their case stronger.
Okay.
But I'm not sure that, except your timeline maybe, but I have to check into that one.
But what if the gloves really didn't fit and I mean what?
Then you must have
I'm
quit.
asking. I just said that, didn't I?
Well, Kardashian.
So I would like for listeners out there to throw at us like why they think he did it. You know what I mean? But I still got a lot more. So yeah, these socks, not only did they have EDTA in them, but Dr. Henry Lee talked about how the drops were the same spot on one part of the sock was the same exact spot on the other part of the sock.
Like it had been allowed to soak all the way through.
So there was no ankle to interrupt it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
There
There was no foot in that sock.
Laying flat on the table.
Yeah, plus, like I said, it wasn't in the video, but it's in the photograph. You know what I mean? Like that spot of blood that was found on her gate 21 days after the murders that also had EDTA in it. That was when they took the video of the gate. No spot of blood on there, but yep, 21 days, 3 weeks later, they found a spot of blood. OJ's blood, EDTA in it.
I'm just going to throw a little inconsistency out there. So if DNA was as new and unused as it was at the time, I find it weird that a team, unless they knew that they would have used DNA evidence, would have used blood as and actually bother with OJ's blood as what they used to to drop it. Like if DNA evidence is not used at all in trial and they don't have really good science behind it yet, why would they think let's get OJ Simpson's actual blood? What the fuck does it matter if it's OJ's blood or dog blood and put it around if it's not that common to do DNA tests at that time? It's just a weird inconsistency I had.
I don't know. Maybe
you can't really answer it.
I guess maybe people involved in crime would know about it though.
Possibly, unless
to us it might mean
if that
nothing,
conspiracy
but
goes up higher than you would think, and they knew that they were going to use DNA evidence in the trial or DNA.
Even back then, even in DNA was in its infancy, but I'm sure there's blood types and there's
fair
all
enough.
kinds
That's
of
true.
other,
There's DNA profiling rather than an exact DNA.
Yeah,
right.
but
You
the
can
blood
tell that it's
itself
from
has a
you
lot
or
of-
your family
right.
or
if you're AB negative or whatever, and it's O, obviously.
That's a good point.
Check this out. Phil Van Adder testified to this, totally breaking protocol. They said he, like I said, when OJ got back from Chicago, and he went and voluntarily, without his attorney present, went and answered questions for hours downtown with the police, and voluntarily gave his blood, even though he was not under arrest and didn't have to do that. He gave 8 cc's of blood, and there was 1 point.
Yeah, he's exsanguinated. Uh-oh.
8 cc's of blood, and when it got to the lab, well, here's the thing. There was 6.5 milliliters of blood. So there was 1.5 milliliters of blood missing from the vial that he voluntarily gave.
That's a fair amount, too.
Phil Van Adder was asked about this, who questioned him and who had the blood sample. They said, what did you do with that vial of blood? Did you drive it to the lab? He said, no, I drove it to the crime scene. Phil Van Adder said this. I'm deaf in one ear.
Yeah, I just lost one ear, too.
That's probably my fault.
Okay. So Phil Van Adder.
I'm moving my camera.
There we go.
Confessed, or not he admitted. He says, I drove it to the crime scene. He drove that blood, OJ's vial of blood at the crime scene, and was at the crime scene for 3 hours walking around with OJ's blood.
For whatever reason, with OJ's blood. That's
right. Yeah. And another, I think, Lang, or I don't want to go there because I don't want to say something that I know that if I don't know is true. So
no, I love those things that you're not really sure. That's kind of the whole thing of conspiracy.
I'm pretty sure, and I think I said this on my old podcast, that I think Lang, all this blood, once all these blood swatches were accumulated and all this, the criminologist put it in a bindle and signed her initials on it. Okay. When they were retrieved from the lab, those initials were not there. Their initials were not on the bindles.
That kills the whole, what do they call that? Evidence, where do they call it? Step by step with evidence, chain of
custody.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So
if you can see. Yeah.
So you really can't trust where they found the blood or anything. Also, did you know that these 3 detectives were issued blood collecting kits?
Why would they? They wouldn't, especially in L.A., that'd be like CSI.
Yeah, but back then it was probably they didn't realize that it was probably a whole team.
They probably don't do that anymore, but I mean, yeah,
that's a good point. I'm sure police were like, yeah, we can gather this shit, you know what I mean? But now they realize that there's like, you know, you've seen CSI go in, they gotta have fucking full body outfits on and shit. So I would imagine that your average everyday detective's probably not as careful with evidence as a crime scene investigator. My opinion, and I bet back then they didn't have crime scene investigators as new as DNA was. Well,
they've always had crime scene investigators.
But I'm saying, like, as far as blood collection goes, now that's left to strictly CSI. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Okay. All right. So where are we going? So then, if you don't think that, like, you're like, oh, he was, racist cop. Let me explain again. Like, this guy Mark Furman was the first one to alert, hey, here's this glove. Now, do you remember why Mark Furman perjured himself? Because F. Lee Bailey asked him, have you ever referred to blacks as the N-word? He says no. And he very confidently I believed him, actually. I'm like, they're barking up the wrong tree here. Well, then it came out that this screenwriter interviewed Mark Furman years before for a project she was doing research on, and there's 13 hours or 11 hours of him talking about framing, Niggers.
Yes.
Vituperating. He says if he sees a black guy with a white girl, he always pulls them over. He finds a reason, and he will plant something on the guy.
Wow.
Now, how about that? He's going to plant something on a black guy with a white woman. And you're going to question, don't play the race card. Don't say he was a racist cop. Was
any of that interview introduced into trial at all, or no?
You know what? The defense, of course, wanted to play, they wanted to play up on it. They wanted to play, and then Judge Ito, the thing was, Mark Furman actually insulted Judge Ito's wife. Coincidentally, in these tapes, she was a top female cop, and he was like, you shouldn't have to take orders from a woman. La la la.
This guy's a real piece of shit.
He really went off on her really bad. Talked about her wig, her hair, and all
Judge Ito wouldn't allow it in.
He actually, it was almost going to be a mistrial, and he said he was like emotional, when he heard about this,
right.
And then he was like, it's going to take another judge to determine to call whether this trial should go on from here.
Wow.
And that was it for that day, and they were tripping for a few days, worrying about, oh my God, you know what I mean? So Ito ruled that only 2 sentences from 11 hours of this tape where he does refer to black people as the N-word would be played. But he also said Stuff like Ethiopians, why is everybody crying about feeding them? Fuck them.
Oh my gosh.
Let them die and use them as fertilizer.
This guy's a
He
real
talked
piece of
about
work.
he talked about the downtown precinct smelling like the NIGGERs that we beat and killed down there. He talked about beating these people. He talked about wiping the blood off his badge and going out to direct traffic. His words.
Wow.
So don't even tell me that this guy, you can't, that it's not worthy of belief, anything he says. Okay, and you know how he became a detective? He sued the LAPD.
Sued his way in, huh?
Yeah.
There you go. Made it for my own.
So, there you go, man. And he's just a despicable human being, really.
For sure.
So we got that guy. We're taking his word for it. That's why those blacks were. That's why why so many blacks were happy about it, because the system did not endorse a racist cop's word. They weren't happy that
So as soon as there's a racist cop on, you can almost think that racist cop, now everybody is automatically against that cop because he's racist, so he has to be innocent, whether he's innocent or not.
Right, from a legal standpoint, though, wasn't he in charge of most of the investigation? And now it comes out
him
that
and Lang.
Lang and Van Adder. Yeah.
So from the defense point of view, if this guy's in charge of the entirety of the investigation, and he's on record, and you know this, obviously, even though it's not admitted into evidence, that he's actively calling African Americans the N-word.
Yeah, have you ever heard of the Good Old Boys Club? You know.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean,
Thin Blue Line.
Yeah, I would fight tooth and nail to try to get that stuff introduced.
Yeah. But the thing is, I think even though there was only two, they were sequestered, the jury was sequestered, and they only played 2 lines of it, they had conjugal visits. And you know them husbands and wives, they came up there and they I think,
they got down, so to speak.
Yeah, they told him about it, and, like these tapes, and, yeah. So, I mean, here you got the person that found this and brought all this attention, found this glove. You can't trust him. Van Adder says that he took the tube of OJ's blood and was at the crime scene for 3 hours. There you go. Can you really trust that? The gloves, I'm sorry, they didn't fit. I don't think they fit. They were measured and they didn't fit. I don't, whatever. And the shoes, you got the shoe, it wasn't even his foot. His foot is bigger than those tiles that the shoe print is on.
So a quick bit of Googling, though, everything I'm seeing shows that he actually was wearing size 12. Like the prison shoes they gave him to wear were size 12. And I don't know. That's just the internet's these days. But
interesting. What, in your opinion, is the most damning piece of evidence?
I think the timeline doesn't allow him to do it. And
no,
that
if
there was a piece of...
what if you were the prosecutor, what would you say would be our best piece of evidence that is most condemnatory?
I don't think
I'm going with the blood.
None.
Well, you got that fucking chemical that's in the blood that shows that it's from a tube. It's hard to pick anything.
You can't trust it, really.
Well, I mean,
the
to
defense took this apart, man.
I understand, and
what you
people
got,
I talked to, people I talked to afterwards, and I lost several friends over this. Most of them lawyers who said, he's innocent because like you said, they botched the investigation.
Yeah.
Whether he actually did or not to them was
innocent and not guilty.
Yeah, not non sequitur. That didn't matter. I said, do you think he did it? He said, well, these people, I don't care. He's innocent. Okay. Yeah. But to me, the motive, I mean, here's a man that has a past of beating his wife. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean...
She called the police 8 times over that kind of shit.
He's definitely a violent human being. That, to me, is... I don't know. That's what I was... And the motive. Was there robbery? Was something... I mean, it's a beautiful house.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
Right.
Motive.
Right.
Hold
the
on.
Motive. That's what I want.
This guy, what would be his motive?
He's
Jealousy.
Nuts. He's an angry. Yeah, right.
Okay. Fine.
Jealous rage.
Where's the evidence? Where's the evidence of his jealousy? I know there's 911 calls and this and that, and he was, domestic violent and all.
Well, what were those calls about? Have you read why was he beating her in the first place?
More or less,
they got
afraid
into a fight,
right.
and because he's bigger, he won.
Yeah, but
you know
what?
I mean, I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying he didn't slap her around and it was wrong and everything.
But why were they fighting?
Yeah, like what was it, man?
Like Everett, why do you beat your wife?
Geez, that's a loaded question.
For a multitude.
That's the classic question. Are you still beating your wife?
Why'd you stop?
Actively.
Right.
There weren't 911 calls for like a couple of years. You guys check this out.
I thought it was 3 weeks before the murder. There was a call that she said that OJ was going to beat the shit out of me.
No, that was not 3 weeks. Long time
that wasn't
before
3 weeks. Oh, was it? Okay, might have been 3 years then. I don't know. I thought it was 3 weeks.
Here's something. The prosecution.
89, I believe that.
The prosecution says that they had this dance recital that day, right? and that OJ had bad seats. They wouldn't let him sit with the family, and that they didn't invite him to go out afterwards, and he was really mad.
Yeah,
okay?
should be. He's OJ.
Now, listen to now. A video comes out of someone, I guess they saw OJ Simpson. Hey, there's OJ Simpson. Let's videotape him. They have a video camera. And you see, this is at the dance recital, outside, afterwards. Denise Brown, Nicole's sister, hot sister, comes over and hugs OJ, kisses him on the cheek, pats him on the arm. Nicole's father comes over, shakes hands with him, pats him on the arm. They smile. He picks his children up, barely because he has arthritis, and walks off with a friend, smiling with his arm around him, happy-go-lucky. Where's the rage? Where's the jealousy? There.
Yeah, but then I think I don't know if that really proves anything, because rage, if you can't control your rage, you're not enraged all the time. You just lose it.
But that does kind of. But they said that the family wouldn't let him sit there. Like you know what I'm saying? All that.
Right.
There's the woman's father and sister going up and bye, see you later, and all this, and the kids and it.
Well, you don't think that maybe he went over there and saw a good-looking guy over there and decided, that he got jealous?
Well, hold on. There is more evidence. There's more evidence to show that he wasn't pissed off at the end of that recital than there is that he was.
When was the recital?
The day of the murders. Because after the recital, they went to dinner and she left her glasses. And,
Let's sort of real quick. I mean, we're not getting too far on that. That's back and forth, back and forth. Let's go ahead and start talking about Jason.
Hey, hang on, man.
Go. What do you got?
These phone records. Mm-hmm. Okay, hang on. You know how, like I said, Lou Brown said she made that call at 11 o'clock. Then he said she made that call at 9:37. These phone records are sealed. You can't even see them. The juries didn't even see them. Dr. Golden, in the preliminary trial, was testifying and said when Cochran or Shapiro asked him, did you have information that Nicole was alive at 11 o'clock? He looks at Judge Ito and says, am I allowed to answer that? What's that about?
Why? Yeah.
I don't
why would
know.
you not be able to answer
I don't
that?
know.
You're supposed to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yeah, that is the line, huh?
Right?
Crazy, man.
Very crazy.
So, what you said you wanted to talk about something?
So, yeah, we were getting back to the point where they were going to dinner after the recital.
Yeah.
And so that day they were actually scheduled to go to dinner at the restaurant OJ's son Jason worked at. But for whatever reason, they changed up and went to the other restaurant. So a lot of people think that really pissed off OJ's son Jason. And one thing that's good to bring up here is this kid himself has a history of violence.
Yeah.
So 6 months before the killings, he went to the emergency room because he heard voices of people who weren't there.
This is from his first marriage, though, right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Wait 1 second before I stop you, before you give me any more evidence on the kid. How old was he at the time of the murder?
24 years old.
Whenever the murder occurred?
24 or 25, right around that time, yeah.
Okay.
So 6 months before the killings, he heard the voices, and he felt as if he was going, what, do you got to go to the bathroom, he said? Oh, great.
We don't have cups in here to pee. Can I borrow your jug?
Anyway, he's going to the bathroom. I'm going to keep going.
Yeah, definitely.
He says he felt he was going to rage because he ran out of the Depakote, which he was stopped taking 2 months before the murders.
Yeah,
or he had stopped taking it 2 months before the murders. So
you're implying that he is the chief suspect if OJ did not do it?
I mean, it could have very well been.
I think he could very well be.
And who's this bloody guy that walked into a restaurant?
Oh, that was from the West Memphis 3 case.
That was a different thing. He nearly killed one. Jason nearly killed one of his girlfriends in a fit of rage. He'd been accused of domestic abuse plenty of time. But one thing that's weird, he was not prone to using weapons, they say. That wasn't really his MO. But
he attacked this one boss. He was on probation at the time of the murders, and for attacking his boss with a knife. And the woman that he attacked, he held her down and cut her hair off with a knife. With a knife.
Yeah, kind of.
This guy.
He'd been on cocaine and other drugs since he was 14, so already 10 years at that point.
Depakote controls rages. I know someone very close to me that has to take Depakote, and I've seen this person not be on Depakote, and I totally can see that. I can totally understand that and see that could be true. OJ stopped paying for the Depakote because I'm pretty sure that Jason tried to kill himself by taking an overdose of it. So therefore, OJ says, I'm not paying for this anymore. And then he doesn't have it. And then he goes into a rage and kills, I don't know. I don't know if I think Jason could very well be guilty. I'm not sure. Sold on that, I'm not sure. I think he could very well be. The night that he clocked out, he didn't use the time card, the time machine, even though it was working. He wrote it down. He wrote it out, and yeah, I mean, it was the only time he's done that.
Here's another little weird thing about him too. There was a note they found titled "Dear Jason," which purports, it looks like it's written from 3 point of view, strangely enough. But handwriting experts all say that all the handwriting from these 3 point of views all comes from, what do you got there? Sunflower seeds? That's a lot. Comes from Jason Simpson. And in the note, he wrote about killing anyone who hurt his loved ones and how he felt like Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah.
So that's kind of fucking weird.
So I can't control my rage. I will hurt people that hurt people that I love.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Shit, man. There was William Deere, the investigator that wrote the book and pointed out the Jason stuff theory, actually bought his storage unit that he was delinquent on in his payments, so it went up for auction. He bought it, found a box with these journals
all these notebooks
and
and journals,
and found a knife at the bottom, a double-edged knife, and the butt of that knife matches a wound on the top of Nicole's head.
It's very similar, actually, to the West Memphis 3 case, and that round knife wound looks like the end of a knife that has it's missing the compass.
Yeah.
And they hit you with the butt of the knife. It gives you that weird little like semicircle. Same thing in this case.
Yeah. You mean like it? Oh, so okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's just like a metal ring at the bottom where it's missing something.
Yeah.
And it looks like on Nicole Simpson's head, she has a very similar came down from the top.
I think it's important to distinguish the difference in consistent with and matching.
Right, well.
Because it was consistent with, but it was never tested to be matching.
Right, well, the guy, it was never a piece of evidence in the trial. It's just what this guy bought. So.
Well, let's see, what else do we have on Jason?
Yeah, but a lot of people think he showed up there that night, pissed already because she didn't go to the restaurant. They didn't bring the kids over, so he's mad about that. And he gets there and he sees Ron Goldman there with Nicole, goes into a fit of rage. Some people, including my wife, buy this theory that maybe he had a little bit of a thing for Nicole, too.
His mom?
I read that.
Oh,
his stepmom.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I don't know.
Also, let me throw it in. I know I'm all over the place and shit.
Yeah, that's
but,
all right. That's how we do it.
Ron Goldman had defense wounds on his hand. The day after when OJ came back from Chicago, he was stripped to his underwear, and they were taking pictures of him. Not one wound. Now, he had a cut on his finger, which not any of the three... There were 3 people that testified that were on the plane with him going to Chicago that they did not see a cut on his hand. One of them was the pilot, and they would have seen the cut on his hand because he signed his autograph. He gave the pilot his autograph. The guy sitting next to him was looking at his hands to see if he could find a Super Bowl ring. All right, I'm not sorry. He didn't play in a Super Bowl. In a Hall of Fame ring.
Right.
And and the person from the hotel said that he asked for a bandage in Chicago. All right? So, I mean, there's no marks on him. There's marks, his Goldman's knuckles are all scratched up, bruised up, cut up, everything.
Yeah, Jason was not even actually able to be directly questioned by police. His attorney kept him completely sequestered away. So that was another weird one.
Really? So he wasn't even involved in the investigation at all?
Uh-uh.
Wow. You can see, there's the behavior of OJ got in the Bronco and took off and all this, but is the behavior of him matching that of a killer that goes without legal representation to talk to police about this for hours and then voluntarily gives them his blood? Jason would not talk to police. OJ hired a high-end defense attorney for Jason the day after the murders.
Okay, yeah. There's where I think is that
maybe
as a dad, your son calls you and says, "I just did this.
Yeah,
I got to figure something out. Wherever."
Dad, I fucked up, Dad.
Yeah.
What
are you talking about, Jason? Slow down.
So listen, here's OJ's thoughts though. Get out of there. I'm going to go over there. They'll put the heat on me. I obviously didn't do it. I've got enough money to buy a great legal team. I'll get away with this, but you're not going to jail for the rest of your life.
That's good, dude.
You're not going to jail for the rest of your life. I can figure out a way to get out of this, whatever the case may be, but you have to go because they'll convict your ass.
Which could also explain his complete smug attitude on every part of the trial. He's always got that look like, I didn't fucking do it.
Right, because he knows he didn't do it.
But he's done some funny things that make you think that he knows who did do it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think that could explain that.
And if he's covering for his kid, it's not that I don't blame the kid. Yeah, if the kid murdered his stepmom, you're a piece of shit. You can't be murdering people. But as a father, I don't blame the father for trying to cover that up for his son.
I do.
No, I don't. I mean,
No, you can empathize with it, but you gotta blame him.
Yeah. Well, no, right. I can empathize with him. I understand.
You murder
why
somebody, dude.
yeah.
I'm not gonna. Sorry, dude. I can't. I might hide you for a little bit.
Yeah.
But
no, you're doing everything
Also-
in your fucking power to make sure I don't get caught. That's what you're doing.
For at least at the beginning.
Yeah. No, all of it.
You know,
give you some money. Get
take
the fuck
yourself
out of
down
here.
to
You're
it.
not bringing me down with you.
By,
How much money?
By OJ not paying for that debit code anymore, maybe he felt responsible because, you know, he didn't buy, his kid was off his meds and went into a rage. And he was paying. He was flipping the bill.
OJ didn't pay for the medicine.
He was flipping the bill
then.
for the meds, and then wrote Jason a note. I'm not paying for this anymore.
Wow.
Yeah. And then the kid is off his meds, goes
Talk
into
about
a rage.
a guilty conscience right there. You know.
Yep.
Yeah, that makes hella sense right there, man.
Yes, it
Tons
does.
of good sense.
Here's an interesting little quote from his psychiatrist too that says, "If Jason was guilty, he could have never been convicted due to his mental condition." So
wow.
That's an interesting.
So that goes to show that he had some sort of mental condition that would have.
Well, he's taking those pills and all kinds of things. You were in the pisser when we were talking about some of that stuff, but it looks like the number one.
Well, don't you think? Do you think OJ would have told his lawyers all this though?
No,
no, of course not. He what he told his lawyers, I'm sure was and it's under lawyer, you know, that confidentiality that they can't talk about. But I'm sure he said something like, "Look, I didn't do this, and I know I didn't do this, so you're going to prove it, and I'm going to help you prove it. You know, regardless of if I know who did it. You know what I'm saying? Like even if he said some sketchy shit, like, you know, it wasn't me, and I'm not helping you figure out who it was in order to get me off. But you got to get me off anyway. You know what I mean? Like, but I know it wasn't me."
Marissa, let me ask you something. Since you
Marissa from the chat,
you're still like, nah, he did it. Okay.
in capital letters.
What holes are in my findings here? Like
that's interesting.
Like,
what do you think, Marissa?
She'll have to get back with us
the
because there's a hell of
glove
a
fit?
delay.
I mean, his foot's bigger than the shoe print. You can look all this up. All this stuff. I'm not privy to any of this information. I'm not an insider. I look this shit up just like anybody else.
Right.
Point some holes in my story or any of this. I mean, like, why do you still think he's guilty? Look, if you'd like to answer.
It's a good question. Here's another little
or
fact
any
about
of you,
Jason.
man, anybody out there.
One of Jason's ex-classmates was quoted saying Jason was trained in hand-to-hand combat as well as field knife training while attending the Army and Navy Academy.
Wow.
Just
I
keep
think
stacking.
OJ was trained too because he was making a movie about like seals.
Oh yeah,
or
he was
something.
playing Frogman or something like
right,
that.
a TV series.
And he bought the knife, and the guy said, "Oh, this guy sold OJ Simpson a stiletto 3 weeks before the murders." That stiletto was found, taken into evidence, measured everything, conclusively not the murder.
Not the murder weapon.
Yeah. I think Marissa has an answer for you here.
What's up, honey?
If he did do it and knew who did it, they'd point the finger at somebody.
No, they would try to save face.
Unless
think.
it was, if he knew.
Look,
I agree with her. If it was anybody other than his son, he'd probably been like, "Yeah, look at that motherfucker."
Right,
okay.
but it's his son.
If it was OJ, then nobody gets a book deal. Nobody gets a trial of the century. You know, Marsha Clark got $4 million for hers, man. They retired. I mean, there was nothing in it for anybody if it wasn't OJ. You know?
Well, okay, if I'm OJ and several years later I'm writing a book about it, isn't that how you would say it? So my son was off his meds or whatever, and you know, since by this time,
they'd be
would he be talking to lawyers?
Yeah, I don't think
saying,
he would ever implicate his son.
I'm innocent. Okay,
wait.
Okay,
everything's. I go to Kardashian or F. Lee Bailey.
Yeah,
and say, look, between you and me, because we do have the privilege, you know, client.
And this may have happened.
Maybe, and I said, look, I think it was my son. And he expatiates about all these details you say.
Yeah.
And Kardashian says, there's no way they're going to convict this kid, you know, because he's temporary insanity, whatever.
Well, your kid walks around with that stigma forever, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You're not.
And look at it this way:
I've never had
the
a
juice
son,
ain't
so I don't
stupid.
know how the bond is.
The juice ain't stupid. He knows he can be selling this book. How I did it, or how I would have did it. You know what I mean? If he blows it out of the water, yeah, it was my son. My son had a problem. Blah 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 blah. He's lost everything at this point. Anything he can, you know, the mystery, the books later on down the road, the movies. Did I do it?
But
did I
that's
not
after
do it?
everything he made from the book had to go to Ron Goldman, I believe.
And it
right?
still probably does, but he
Goldman's
ain't paying that
family.
off anyway. He eventually wants to have that paid off so he can make some fucking money of his own.
Yeah.
I mean, again, that's just another thought.
Well,
Why
so
would
he
he
lost
now?
$33.5 million in the civil suit.
Right.
How much money did he have?
Not even
About
close to that.
$500,000, I think. They took all his Heisman Trophy, everything he had.
Think about it. After all that went down, he went to prison for stealing back his own memorabilia. Apparently,
OJ says he's innocent.
Right?
Good
Yeah,
enough
he
for
did.
me.
He strong-arm robbed somebody and stole back
Right.
his.
You want to? We
Kidnap the
discuss that.
motherfucker.
Okay, hang
that
on.
guy's really nuts.
Since we're talking about Jason being like an alternate theory here, like, okay, because people always ask that, well, if it wasn't OJ, who did it?
Right.
What did
That's
anybody
what I'm-
know about anybody else involved? You only knew about OJ because of his
At
celebrity.
the time, that was not an issue.
And let me tell you this, man. People talk about his celebrity got him out of this. His celebrity got him into this, man. His money helped him out, but his celebrity got him into this
I agree.
shit.
I think the cops are way more interested.
Yeah.
I think the cops are way more interested in putting the juice behind bars.
Yeah, convicting OJ.
This is my career case. Think about this.
That's what
I fucking put OJ away.
Yeah, like if the news started to like talk about how the defense tore their shit down, I mean, then we were all wrong, folks. You know what I mean? The police were wrong.
As I recall, now this is so many years ago, but I remember that most of the people, the commentators, were saying how lousy Marcia Clark and who was the other prosecutor?
F something.
No, it was, Dart starts with a D.
Maybe I watched CNN, you watched
Chris
Fox.
Darden.
How incompetent those two were in court. Of course,
Really?
they're up against like the dream team, but
that's what they
they
called
didn't do a very
OJ's
good job.
lawyers. Literally the dream team of lawyers.
Right. F. Lee Bailey,
Cochran,
Shapiro.
Kardashian, Shapiro. Yeah.
F. Lee Bailey. You know who else he defended?
Well,
Sam Shepard. Sam Shepard, whose wife was dead, and he fled.
And he was in jail.
He fled though. Like they said, when OJ left and they got in the Bronco, everybody, they just thought he was guilty, right?
Right.
Well, Sam Shepard did the same thing, and later on they found out that he did not do it
But
beyond
I think
any reasonable doubt.
if we examine, most guys that flee are probably guilty.
Fight or flight. But I mean, I think OJ Simpson led a very privileged life and was not about to sit in a cage.
I'm
for
gonna give you the
do.
credit. Marissa aside, I think he's guilty too. But if you think it might be his son,
there's an argument there. You got to admit it.
That one I'll mull that one
son.
over.
I agree.
But here's the thing: they say if he didn't do it, who did it?
Right.
Who
That's
did
what
it?
I always get. Right.
Okay. Well,
That's what
here
always got
are
me.
some avenues of investigation that were not gone down. We went over Jason. Let's talk about Ron Goldman, who nobody knew shit about. Okay, and nobody wanted to go digging up on his history because he was a victim, and nobody wanted to throw dirt. You know what I'm saying? Make him.
Right. You don't
all
shit
that
on the
kind of
dead.
stuff.
You just
okay.
Generally a bad move.
One of the T.H. Johnson from the Ocean Medical Investigative Group, who investigated this privately, went to try to get Ronald Goldman's criminal file. He had a extensive criminal file.
Did he?
No, I didn't know
and
that.
Yeah, I knew that.
found out, and then
Thought he was a waiter.
could not see it because it was sealed. Now, at that time, there was only one law in California that sealed criminal records.
Pedophilia.
No, there was only like one. No, it was
Jewish
called.
people
It was.
don't do
It's. I don't know what the law is called, but it's the slang term for it is the snitch law. It protects the criminal files of informants.
Informants, really?
With that, so
I could see that.
So obviously he was an informant. He told
But
on
that's
somebody.
He's not breaking the law.
Is
though.
that not?
Not necessarily, obviously,
So
but it's
you're
possible.
saying he's
yeah.
making enemies?
Yeah.
Well,
Okay,
I'd
let's
kill
talk
him.
about his stepmother, Ron Goldman's stepmother. Her name was Patty Glass, married to his father. Patty Glass's ex-husband's name was Marvin Glass, was an ex-Cook County DA, and was arrested and on so many charges, one including hiring someone to kill his neighbor, that he had 200 years the judge was going to sentence him,
Jesus
and he
Christ.
became an informant and got out in 8. He was in L.A. that night.
What would what would his motive be for the crime?
What do we know about him? You know what? I don't really think he did it. I'm saying these are just
Avenues
this
they
is
didn't
this
take a
is
look
an
at.
Right,
evidence.
avenues
I'm
that they
bringing
could
up
have
evidence
investigated.
as a rush to judgment.
Right. No, I
Okay.
totally totally agree.
I mean,
I
why
just
bother
wasn't
looking
sure
for
where that was
anybody else
going,
when they've
you know
already
what I
got the
mean?
juice?
And I just told you about Goldman had enemies, right? 2 of his friends were murdered within a year of the trial. 2 of Ronald Goldman's friends. One was Michael Nigg. He came out of a nightclub with a gal, and 2 guys ran up. This is a holdup. They didn't steal anything. They left the girl alone. They shot and killed him.
Hillary Clinton.
His other guy. Yeah, right.
Obviously.
The other
Could
guy,
be.
Brett Cantor, Brett Cantor, got his throat cut ear to ear.
Jeez.
Sounds
this
familiar.
is Ron Goldman's friend. Within a year of the trial.
I mean, it could be coincidence. It's just it's a weird fucking coincidence, if anything.
Yeah, but I mean, then we have Glenn Rogers.
That's Marissa has an interesting
what do you got?
hypothesis here.
She says Nicole killed Ron. She called the juice over to cover it up. They argued over how to clean it up, and OJ said it'd be easier just to kill this bitch. That's
she
what
needs
happened.
She needs to be in this room right now.
She is in the room right now. She's a good-looking woman.
Well, right on, Marissa.
We need a woman in this room.
She's always funny, man.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. Glenn Rogers, which I really think he's the least likely out of, but I'm just going to go there. Glenn Rogers was a serial killer. He's still on death row. He's been on death row probably longer than anybody on death row today, because he was also an informant. Supposedly, he did work in Nicole Brown's house and told his brother that he was going to kill her, that he was going to bring. He goes, "I'm partying with Nicole, OJ's ex-wife, and I'm going to bring her down." He talked to his brothers and sisters about killing people.
Yeah, he was the Casanova killer, right?
The Casanova killer. But nobody, there's nothing really, like there's no pay stubs that prove that he worked in the house, nothing like that. None of her friends say he worked in that house, anything like that. But his victims were all stabbed a bunch of times, and then he cut their throats.
How about Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker?
Oh, boy.
He was around, right?
So, Glenn Rogers also claims, sorry, Armand, that this is kind of interesting, that OJ Simpson hired him to steal back some diamond earrings from Nicole Simpson, with the caveat that you may have to kill the bitch.
Who said this?
This is Glenn Rogers saying that OJ hired him to do this, and he's told his brother Clay this story, and you get this story from Clay, but
who's sold his story to a documentary?
Right, it's all for money, but at the same time, that's the problem with this thing. There's so many people trying to make so much money off of this.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, I could go up to the newspaper tomorrow and say for $50, I'll tell you the real truth about it and see what we get. You know, my cousin's uncle's grandfather knew something.
I mean, has he changed your mind? I mean, because I know you're.
No, I walked in the whole time. I don't think OJ did it honestly by his own hand either.
Oh.
I don't think. I don't think his attitude at all, unless he's the best actor ever. And after watching some of his movies, he's not.
He's not that good of an actor, no.
Well, he was pretty good at acting on those gloves, but that also seems obvious too. Oh, you know, that he overplayed that one a little bit. And
So
then
you think he hired somebody to do it?
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
I think he knows more than he let on to.
I still think his kid had something to do with it. That's my favorite theory right now.
Yeah, I think
and
the
he
Jason
went there,
side of it's the most interesting.
He went there, saw what happened, knew his kid did it, but knew the whole time, they have nothing on my son. They're not even looking at him really.
Right.
I know I didn't do it, and the evidence can pretty much get me out of this. So that's my thought.
I would be sold on that. The only thing that tells me keeps me thinking that it was Jason was that the Dr. Golden in the preliminary trials talked about these wounds that looked like they came from two knives. One was a single-edged knife and one was a double-edged knife. Now, Dr. Golden testified to this in the preliminary trial. He did not testify. He did the autopsies. He did not testify in the criminal trial. He had his assistant, Dr. Lakshmanan, testify for him.
Lakshmanan.
Good name.
They asked Lakshmanan. Shapiro said, "So you didn't perform this autopsy?" He said, "Nope." He says, "Did you assist in the autopsy?" "Nope." He says, "So have you ever testified on Golden's behalf before?" He says, "Nope." He says, "Is he on vacation?" "Nope." He's like, has anyone, to your knowledge, ever testified in any other case for Dr. Golden? No.
So what's the reason why why Dr. Golden didn't testify?
Indeed.
I don't know. It's interesting. It's interesting.
Well, that brings up I know Ito came under a lot of duress and a lot of calumny. What do you think about how he conducted this thing? You know, it kind of turned into a circus. Remember that? They said most of the judges they had on.
Due to his wife and all that, yeah.
He's
I don't know.
crazy.
His critics said that he was very starstruck. That he liked that
right.
Arsenio Hall sent him like an autographed picture or something like that. And no, really, no, specifically Arsenio Hall.
I remember on Saturday Night Live, Mad TV or whatever was around back then. There was always the character of Jajito. It was always a thing. It was huge in the news. They were making a big deal out of him. So.
I know the pundits were saying that this guy's turning this thing into a circus. He's lost all control of this, and just a horror. Besides all the police screw ups. Yeah. This guy did not run a very good.
You got to think too. In the aftermath, 2 years earlier was the, or was it 3 years earlier? Whatever it was, the L.A. riots.
Rodney King, of course.
Rodney King. I mean, you could argue, the whole racial thing there. People just still waiting on a comeuppance from that. Fire was still warm.
Let me ask you guys something. Have any of you watched Making a Murderer?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Are you familiar with it?
With Stephen
Avery and Brendan Dassey.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Stephen did it. Just saying.
Okay, I'm not. I don't know one way or the other. I haven't looked at it. I've seen the thing, but I haven't really studied it much. I think he probably could have done it. Here's the thing: thousands of people all over the world have no problem thinking that he's been framed.
Right.
And there's a lot.
They totally did frame him
once. And there's a lot less to go on. And this guy has domestic abuse in his past, cruelty to an animal, goes out jerking off in front of people, and ran out in the car.
Well, yeah, come on. There's nothing wrong with that.
Held a rifle to
all
his
done that.
sister-in-law. Was going to rape his sister-in-law, and she's like there was a baby in the back seat, and she's like, no, the baby will freeze or something and stuff. So then he backed off.
Good
but I'm just
call.
saying, nobody has a problem believing he was framed. And there's so much less to go on. Now, I'm not saying it's because he's white. I'm not going there.
Well,
I'm
it
saying
could be, though.
It's
Same
because
thing
of
those
the,
West Memphis 3 kids. They had everybody in the world rally behind them, too.
because of the power of the spin.
Right.
Of the documentary, the power of the news. That's why
Yeah.
you think OJ did it. That's why you don't think Stephen Avery
Yeah,
did it. Because
media manipulation's huge, man.
Media manipulation, social engineering, brainwashing. That's why I'm talking about this today. I can give a shit about OJ Simpson.
Same.
So
the only other one weird thing I want to talk about too, it's not even a weird thing, it has barely anything to do with the case, is the white Bronco ride. So many people, including Eric, assumed that this happened directly after the murder.
I was under the impression that this was, somebody had
Later that day or whatever.
in my mind, because I'd never looked
APB,
into
get
it.
fucking the juice.
Yeah, the juice fucking killed this old lady.
Well, that is half true.
Oh, fuck, he's the bad guy. Go get him.
That's kind of half true. They did put out the APB. So he, like we said before, he had went to Chicago that night after the murders and had already been back to L.A. They had contacted him, told him, we are going to charge you.
They
Turn
put out
yourself in.
Yeah.
They had set up a time to turn himself in, like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. OJ didn't show.
They put out an all-points bulletin.
And at that point, they catch a glimpse of his car and they go after him. Also important to note, Also important to note, he wasn't driving the white Bronco that day.
Al Cowlings.
Okay.
Right.
Al Cowlings actually was called the LAPD.
He's the one that called?
Yes. When they left the cemetery and they did OJ said he wanted to go to the cemetery and see Nicole's grave.
Sure.
And they did go there because OJ talked about there was a cop outside and I got nervous, and the cop actually said yes. He thought they was them. So OJ takes out a gun at that point. AC sees that he has a gun, and AC calls the cops.
Right.
Calls the LAPD,
which is one of the reasons they didn't actually pit him.
How long ago was it after the murders?
Let's find out.
Like a few
Just a
few
couple days. Apparently, she had already had a grave, but
yeah, she already in the grave.
I think that happened on a Friday night. I was at work. And
right.
The murders were
the
on
chase
a
was on
Sunday.
Friday. I remember that. Yeah, because I came home and that was some slow chase.
So, what do you think about that too? The whole I'm going to commit suicide. They keep backing off of him because they don't want OJ to kill himself. The cops eventually. One cop realizes I talked to him about something recently. I have his cell phone. I'm just going to call him. They talk to the juice, and if this guy didn't do it, why is he thinking to kill himself?
Yeah, that's one hell of an
Here's my
act,
thing.
isn't it?
Had this happened in this day and age, you're not negotiating. I'll kill myself. The cops are going to come in and do that for you. So don't worry about that.
Not the juice, though.
But why would he run in the first place? I mean, if
Look,
he's engineering all this to protect his son, he wants to be busted.
That he could be the smartest motherfucker ever and came up with this whole plan beforehand.
But I don't think he was ever
buy that.
suicidal.
Now the cops are stupid and OJ is a genius. I think they're about as dumb as I don't think OJ is all that bright either.
Okay,
but I mean, come on. But I go with Occam's razor here.
Yeah, usually the simple solution is
I hate Occam's razor. Anyway.
Well, you can use a shick then.
I don't think the dude was ever going to commit suicide. I think he was trying to get to Mexico. I really do. Because I think he was trying to flee. Yeah,
I think what was in the car.
I think he was like this.
$8,000 in cash. Go ahead.
Right.
Sorry.
I think it was like this. I didn't do this. It hadn't even been a week. He's going to go somewhere and then pray that something transpires, that they will
figure it out.
They figure it out,
right.
and they leave his ass alone.
Yeah, but they don't want to figure out it's his son, though, if he knows it's his son, correct? He doesn't want them to figure it out.
Well,
does he want to take the rap?
Maybe he just wanted to get away and get his head together and okay, what am I going to do now? Let me go somewhere, get the fuck away. I'm certainly not going to go to jail. You know what I mean? For this, I am going to go away and figure out. Maybe I'm going to talk to my son into turning himself in. I don't know.
I'm going to grant you've been very persuasive. I was about 95% sure he did it. Now I'm about 70% sure.
Right? Yeah. No, I agree.
So,
anybody else?
Marissa, I think it's still 100%.
So, I mean,
everybody else.
Am I too
what do
early
you
in
guys
calling
think?
for our conclusions and final thoughts and just asking what we completely think?
2 hours and 10 minutes into the show. I don't think that's too early.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying based on everything that's presented and everything that you know. Let's go around the table here and kind of get a good consensus on what you think or what you don't think happened.
Well, I'll start it.
I think.
All right, let's hear it.
I've said it plenty of times in the show. I honestly don't think he did it. I think he absolutely could have done it. I think he could have absolutely gotten away with it. but I don't think he did.
But I gave you a percentage. What is your percentage?
My percentage that he did it?
Going into this,
or did not do it?
Going into before
Pre-research?
research, everything. Yeah, going in. What was your?
I would say I classically believed he did it.
Okay.
But after doing my modicum of research here, I would say I'm 75% sure he didn't.
Okay.
Ooh.
Armand?
I just told you. I was 95%. Now I'm about 70% sure
That he did
it.
Oh, at least there's that.
I'm still at 95% that he did not do it.
Ooh.
So before the research. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I leave 5% to maybe.
Because you never fucking know.
There's something I'm missing or something like that. I'll leave it 5%. But I really don't think the time allowed it for him to drive back, kill them, drive back, get cleaned up. And when he was in that limousine, he had the partition down and talked to the driver the whole way to the airport. Calm as a
that's
fucking
not the
cucumber.
thing you do as a...
Yeah.
Jordan thinks he may be covering but didn't do it, and OJ thanks him for that. That was Marissa's still 100%. I don't think you swayed Marissa one bit.
God bless you.
In my opinion, before the research going into it was 100%. Yes, the guy did it. Yeah. Oh, he got away with it. It was a big tragic deal that he got away with murder, but he did do it. So after, I'm still leaning towards he did it, but because of the son thing and because I can empathize with trying and everything lining up with what the son psychiatrist said all of that, everything that has to do with his son, that angle swayed me away from being 100% positive that he did it. Yeah. And I feel like that because of all that, there's a really good chance that he didn't do it, and that if his son was having mental issues, and he did that, I as a father could understand going through those sort of motions, even if it's I'm going to get myself tried for murder. I might get off, I might not, but at least he's in the clear. He's younger than me. He's got the rest of his life. I'm the juice. I've had a great life.
You're looking at it that
NFL,
way to protect your kid.
College football Hall of Fame, Pro Football Hall of Fame, money out the wazoo, hookers, coke, everything. Oh, okay, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I get wanting to help your kid, but wouldn't you think it'd be smarter to help your kid make sure they get into custody and not get themselves fucking shot? That'd be the way to help your kid. Make sure they go through the process the correct way.
Or do it again.
Or do it again,
He's
right?
not taking Depakote, so this guy is on a rampage.
That's how you help your kid.
I mean,
it sounds like you're
like helping your kid.
I'm gonna hide my kid. I'm gonna get him out of the country. I'm gonna make sure the cops don't get him.
No, wouldn't you be like, hey, listen, I'm gonna get you Kardashian. I'm gonna get you Shapiro. I'm gonna get you F. Lee Bailey.
Exactly.
And I'll get you off. Don't worry.
Eric's like, you're not even going through the process, boy. That's it, or girl, or for your kid. I mean, I don't know why.
No, I'd do everything I could for him, but you can't. I don't know if I'd take the rap.
You're bringing yourself down.
I would take the rap.
I don't think so.
Keep in mind, folks, that he did just lose someone that he did care about very much, and his decision making was probably a little off. But let me bring up the biggest OJ conspiracy I've ever heard. You guys ever hear of Miles Mathis?
Yeah, the name rings a bell.
I actually asked you about it before I came in here.
Right.
This guy thinks that the whole thing was faked.
The entirety?
He thinks
that would be great.
He says that Denise Brown is really Nicole Brown.
That's her mother, right? Or no, her sister. I'm sorry.
Her sister, yeah. No, I don't subscribe to this theory at all.
But they're interesting.
But I like it. I hope it's true.
And he says the whole he points out like Marsha Clark. There was only 2 cases that she tried before this, that she was a theater minor in college. And he points out all these things, and it was in Hollywood. It was an answer to the LA riots and racial imbalance and all this shit, so they cooked it. I don't believe it.
Marissa.
I don't believe it, but it's funny.
So similar as to how they needed to win the space race, so they cooked up the the videos on the moon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They were. It's plausible for sure.
But I mean, I don't.
Well, yeah.
I brought that up to be funny.
Did you read Marsha Clark's book? I want to read that.
I won't read
book.
any of their books.
Well, I'd like to get her. Why not get all the
information?
Well, I've never read
from every side.
I won't read those lawyers, but I won't read Shapiro's book or Darden's book or anybody's book.
I know. Where do you want to meet, Marissa?
Oh my God!
I'm willing to
Marissa,
you want me to beat Nick up for you?
Run. Just run, Marissa.
Whatever helps.
Yeah, Armand could do that, but it would be an everyday.
Nick's put some weight on.
Thing.
Nick's put some muscle on since I saw him. What, you been hitting the weights?
No, dude.
No, dude. Come on, bro. What are you talking about?
Got some arms there.
Which way to the gym?
Paulie in the chat says, Nick, you should be a lawyer.
Yeah. Very persuasive.
Thanks, but no.
If we can somehow just get his bar given to him, the bar test, and get that passed and given, then you can beat him.
I'll make you a podiatrist. It took me 6 weeks, but I think you can do it quicker.
That's it, eh?
Yeah, on the back of those match covers, be a podiatrist, 6 weeks.
Be a podiatrist.
Sure. All you have to do is draw the duck. You're a podiatrist. You know
Lordy.
that. Anyway.
Podiatry, just it's a step below chiropractic.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe he says that.
Those guys are real doctors.
Oh, those guys are quacks.
No, they're not. You're crazy.
It's the art of medicine at that point rather than the science.
Show.
Look, now
You
that
wanna
you
do
brought this
chiropractic
up-
is
no,
bullshit.
No,
You wanna get into it?
No. Yeah.
Let's do that. That's a good show.
No. Chiropractic is not bullshit.
Chiropractic.
There you go.
Podiatry is.
It's not bullshit. It's not. I used to think just like you did. Oh, nobody knows nothing about the back. Podiatrists are bullshit. Or
Listen,
not
hold on. I don't think it's
chiropractors.
bullshit. I think they can work your back up and make you feel better. I feel like it is an art of a medicine, not a science of a
You
medicine.
don't feel like they have to learn about every muscle,
Sure they do.
tendon,
But
about
whenever
where
you're
your
like,
bones
feeling-
are at
when
and
you-
everything.
When you do something by feel, it is not science.
No.
It is art.
You can't feel what muscles are bulged out, and they could be holding these bones in
Could be.
an odd spot. You heat it, you fucking rub it
I
out,
believe
and
science
pop. I'm
is done
telling
by
you,
real
there's
observation, not
more
just-
to it than just herpy derp. You have to know the entire skeletal system, all of the muscles, where they connect at, and when they're
You ever
tense.
talk to a chiropractor? Most of them
I've
were half
been to a
retarded.
chiropractor.
I'm not supposed to use that word,
I have
but
hobbled into a chiropractor like this.
and he popped your back
and
for it, and you were all
walked
better.
out.
You got
Glided
lucky.
out.
I
You could have been
promise
worse.
you. I
You could have been
promise you.
worse.
Hey, I'm just telling you from my personal experience. I don't feel like they're bullshit.
This is weird. This
Well,
is
see,
one
now
of those.
that's a show. A quack medicine. That's a great show.
That does sound like a good
And
show.
being a quack, I think I'm eminently qualified to be on that
Armand's
show.
on. Yeah.
You're always welcome, pal. You know that. All right, guys. You got anything else on OJ? I think we've beat
No, man,
beat
that
this
was a
one up
good
pretty
show.
good.
I'm pretty happy with how that turned out.
damn
It was
right,
a good show. We
James.
presented a lot of facts and
Facts.
discussed a lot of theories and opinions. So,
Well, and Marissa even said Nick was really good.
Yeah, man. We appreciate you having
Thank
on,
you,
Nick.
Marissa.
It's been a good way to come full circle for us and have you back
Nick,
on the
thanks
show.
for having me. Yeah,
Hey, no problem, man.
You
no
can
problem.
come to Marissa and I's wedding.
I would love. Yeah.
She lives in Tennessee. It's not that far.
Not that I'll get
Hey,
my
don't
car.
bust
I'll
it
be
out.
there by
Let's show
midnight.
people to know that.
Oh yeah, sorry. Well, she tells everybody. She's a good kid, man. I like her.
Okay, James. Thank you.
Nick, you got anything you want to plug? Are you still doing in the nick of time at all, or is that
No,
a done deal?
Yeah, I mean, unless I get like a partner or something like to do it.
Sure.
Because I don't want to just drone.
It's kind of a pain in the ass, especially I get what you mean by one person. It'd be
it's-
hard to get that. It's hard enough for me and Eric sometimes to get the motivation to come in
I'll tell
together.
you, I could not sit here and do this podcast by myself.
just
And
talk
that's how
for
Nick
an
used to
hour.
do it. Nick used to
Yeah.
do this podcast by himself. For me, I could not sit here and do a podcast by myself.
I would never,
Feed
but
off. Yeah,
that's
I would
me.
never.
Yeah.
I feed off the energy that everyone else gives,
Well,
and we have our
yeah.
best conversations when there's. I mean, you can't talk to yourself.
That's what. Yeah, that's what I liked about
Flushing out my
doing this,
ideas
yeah, bouncing
are
off.
better. Yeah, bouncing them off other people, getting what they're. Hell, you
Yeah.
can even help change your mind. We did a global warming episode with Armand, and I was 100%. And then after, I'm like, well, fuck that. And it's just because.
Never let Armand change your mind on global warming.
yeah,
He's a
please
zealot.
do.
Oh man, yeah. But
Oh,
anyway.
well, that was a favorite. No,
Don't even
man,
mention
I'm
that. My
telling
blood
you.
pressure goes up 20
It's already
points. He just
popping
mentioned.
up.
Did you know he I'm sorry. He
Go ahead.
actually asked me. He's like he I'm sorry, Ocho. He took me aside once. He's like, man, he goes, I need you to get on the stick with this global warming. We really want you to have some kind of smoking gun that we could show him. And
Always stirring the
impression
pot.
too. That's a
he's
good
like,
impression too.
and really put him down on this global warming thing. And I was like,
on,
dude,
pal.
I'm like, Armand is right.
Yeah, right.
Hey, before we leave, can you do Al Pacino for us?
Yeah,
Armand's told us about this.
I'm in here with my partner, and we're dying, man. But now you got the older Pacino that's all, hey, what do you got?
Thank you,
But
Nick.
yeah,
Very
Nick, you
good.
ever have any more ideas or something? You got, you do a bunch of research and want to work out a full show or something? Hit Everett and I up. We have no
Yeah,
problem
and
having you
same-
back
same
on,
for
man.
you guys,
It's
man.
been a great deal.
I'd love to be
so.
around for that. That's fun.
Yeah,
Drew, thanks for sitting in.
Yeah, Drew,
Thanks,
appreciate
Drew.
it. You the real MVP over there, buddy.
Thanks, everybody.
Good stuff as always,
Yeah.
fellas.
Are you awake now?
He's been
Yeah,
awake
that
the whole
was,
time. Drew
no,
doesn't
he
pass
slept
out.
on the couch for a
He
while.
hasn't slept in
It was a
3
power
years.
nap.
And Love Connection, by the way, you guys all know I was on Love Connection, Marissa. I was on the last episode of Love Connection.
This guy's been on everything.
Yeah.
Now we got another story to tell. What
I
he's
didn't
been
know
on.
you were on Love
OJ
Connection.
wants
Love
me to
Connection,
give him
yeah.
a call. Says we can team up.
Oh
Thanks,
shit!
Right on,
James. You betcha.
Right on, man.
All right, James.
Thanks,
Under
OJ, for
global
being
warming
here.
hoax.
We couldn't have did it without you, OJ.
All right.
7 out of 10.
Nice.
Damn.
That's kind of arbitrary, but
That's
whatever.
pretty good.
Love it.
Of course.
All right, guys.
She
Thanks
fell
for
in love on
listening.
this show.
Division or listening on lineupmedia.fm, whatever.
Yeah, definitely.
everybody.
Go to the
Facebook.com.
website, surrealtalkpodcast.com. Vote in the poll. Team Everett, Team Eric. We're on Facebook. Join the group. Facebook.com/groups/. No,
Something, I don't know. The
yeah.
Twitters. The Twitters were on
Yeah,
there.
we're on Twitter.
Patreon is a cool thing. Patreon.com/Surreal Talk. It's voluntary subscription services. If you want to give us like any bit of monetary love every month, it's just a recurring payment.
But you don't
from
have
$1 to $1 billion. We encourage more on the $1 billion side.
Yeah, if we could get $1 billion, that'd be cool.
Yeah, we'd do 2 or 3 shows of like extra a month if we got $1 billion a month.
We'd probably just quit.
Yeah, you're right. We'd be gone.
Oh.
All right, don't give us any Patreon.
Don't give us $1 billion.
It's great seeing you guys, man.
Yeah, definitely.
Appreciate you coming in. All right, thanks again, guys. We'll see you next week with God knows what.
Yeah, right.
See ya.